So, the plan is tonight is to watch part 2 of the Piers Morgan and fucking Andrew Tate video. It's only 30 minutes long, so it's not gonna take like a long time or the whole stream. And then we're gonna, let's see, then we're gonna react to a couple videos. I don't know if we're gonna get to the suit video. We'll see. I don't know if we'll get into the suit video. We'll see. Maybe. And we're gonna play some Suika probably. And let's see. Okay, so that's okay. And then we're gonna probably do some Slay the Princess, though I don't know how I feel about that. I'm kind of like not vibing with the game. I feel like I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'll give it another chance. I'm just not really vibing with it, you know? You know, I'm gonna play a game of Suika just to get in the mood. And then, we're gonna do the Philip DeFranco. Let's see. Oh my goodness. I hope you're doing well tonight. I'm drinking water and shit. This Gatorade is giving me life. This is not the best color on me. I feel like this is a very like something that you'd wear like underneath some clothes as like a layer of warmth. Like weird beige. It's definitely not my color. I wear a lot of blacks and blues, you know? That's more of like my color. Or like white. Maroon, dark reds, emeralds, you know, emerald green, blue, things like that. Like sapphire blue, ruby reds, and darker reds as well. Gold, but like this like weird like muted color. I don't know what color you call this, but I just threw something on. As you could earlier, I had that drawer open because I just pulled something out. I was like, all right, I need to stream or I'm gonna be late. And it's Thanksgiving, so I was like, it's Thanksgiving on Thursday. So I was like, I'm not going to wear like my cutest, like one of my cutest outfits. You know, I don't even know what I'm going to wear for Thanksgiving. I'm going to a friend's house. So kindly, he let us come over. And it's going to be fun because we know his fans. They have the best, like, hot apple cider that I'm dreaming about right now. So I'm kind of excited about that. But I'm also, like, stressed out low-key because, like, I don't know what to wear. I haven't seen them in a hot minute, so I want to look good, you know? I could wear like my purple jewel toned jumpsuit in satin or the same jumpsuit but in black. Or I could wear a one-shouldered, like, velvet top jumpsuit and then, like, satin bottom. That one's super cute. I've only worn that as a blonde, though. I haven't worn that as a brunette. That changes the look completely. What other outfits do I have? Because it can't be too tight because you're eating. It's fucking Thanksgiving, you know? So, like, it's got to be reasonable. It's got to have some give, right? And I don't think it's going to be that cold, thank goodness, this Thanksgiving. But, their house is more of like a colder house. Like, I think they just like the temperature colder. So I've learned my lesson there. Layers. So I'm probably gonna have a cardigan. Or tights. But I bought these new tights that Taylor Swift wears on tour. Except they're like kind of like a fishnet. So I bought them in black and beige. But what I really wish I had was I could wear the beige tights with the shiny tights. But the shiny tights are out of stock. So I can't do that. Oh, that fucking grape, bro. I can't do with that grape. Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, what's going on? What's going on? Okay. Why is it so bouncy? Gonna bounce. Oh, surprisingly not. Halfway out the door, bed. Okay. I always get distracted, sorry. Okay. I think streaming has like made me realize that I probably have a little bit of ADD. Like low-key, high-key. shake. What the fuck? What the actual fuckerage? That's bullshit. Ah! No! Wait, okay, maybe I can salvage this. Okay, those fucking pineapples need to touch. You're so close. There we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. Now that we don't talk. It might have been a mistake, but fuck it. Whoa! Fuck. No, 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 no. Oh my god. You fucking anxiety, bro. Why is it turning like that? Unnecessary bouncing from that goddamn orange. Okay, let's see how this shakes out. that the right song I'm singing? Yeah. Actually sounds better like instrumental than like it does like with the actual words. Which is bad. Fuck, I thought that was an orange. Fuck! This is bullshit. Okay. I'm done. I'm done with that. We are moving on.
Backlash right now. And this is over his new Netflix stand-up special titled Natural Selection. Also, if you're unfamiliar with Matt Rife, he's a comedian who went super viral over on TikTok, getting a huge following from his crowd work videos. But his Netflix special has a lot of eyes on it now, not because of the crowd work, but because the joke he opened up with sparked a lot of controversy because it centers around domestic violence. Right in it, he's making fun of the city of Baltimore and how the rest of the state of Maryland is really nice, but once you get to the city of Baltimore, people are making sure they lock their car doors. With him then saying the only time he's been to the city, he went to a restaurant, he was greeted by a hostess with a black eye, and saying, a full black eye? It wasn't like, what happened? It was pretty obvious what happened. This is who you have greeting people? And my boy who I was with was like, yeah, I feel bad for her, man. I feel like they should put her in the kitchen or something where nobody has to see her face. And I was like, yeah, but I feel like if she could cook, she wouldn't have that black eye. He also later joked that he was testing to see how loose the crowd was, but starting with a joke about domestic violence. You know, with that, you had a lot of people domestic violence is never a joke. Certainly not to be used as a comedy show audience litmus test. And I hope the woman Matt Rife made the DV joke about is okay. He started off his special at her expense. And a ton of people getting mad here because they said, you know, he started off his career with a big female fan base. Or women were a massive part of his TikTok success, finding his videos funny, some finding him attractive. Right. So you have people saying things like, the way women catapulted Matt Rife into popularity, and the second he gets a comedy special on Netflix, he immediately betrays them with a joke about domestic violence. With this, people also noting that he's seemingly been trying to distance himself from this female association, with him recently telling Variety that despite what you think about me online, I don't pander my career to women. I would argue this special is way more for guys. So some have also
Interesting.
argued, I think Matt Rife's special is so bad because he's trying so hard to prove himself to other men through misogyny. He's desperate and sad. Though also with this, you had people on TikTok saying, there are ways that a male comedian can joke about a subject like domestic violence and it would actually be funny and well done. But they said with Matt,
the joke just wasn't good in itself, and it was kind of old and played out and not unique. It was like a joke that someone's misogynistic uncle would tell. It just felt like a bro standing on stage shitting on women and telling his other, like, trying to fit in with the other bros.
so with this, I will say I hadn't seen the special yet, so I can't give my opinion. Before this domestic violence stuff, really,
I gotta
only
see the special,
controversy or
baby.
critiques I saw were people going like, "Oh wow, he's really way better at crowd work rather than actually telling a structured joke." But all that said, regarding the domestic violence backlash, Matt is seemingly not interested, with yesterday him addressing it on Instagram and saying, "If you've ever been offended by a joke I've told, here is a link to my official apology. The link saying tap to solve your issue, and when you clicked it, it took you to a website selling special needs helmets." So the backlash just entered a whole new phase, with people saying things like, "Fuck you, Matt Rife, people with disabilities aren't your punchline after making a misogynistic DV joke. Be funny without being a
Okay,
gross
this
human,
is
or you're
getting
just
out of
not funny." As well as
control.
ableist and misogynistic, boy, really out here showing his whole ass. So of course with this you have people on his side as well, saying people are too easily offended, that they thought his response to the backlash was hilarious. With all that said, I gotta pass the question off to you, because like I said, I haven't seen this special. So one, if you were one of his fans from TikTok and you watched the special, like, what are your thoughts on like that kind of jump?
Oh, he
and
does the Andrew
quality?
Tate-
And
he
then also,
covers the
two,
Andrew
what are your
Tate
thoughts regarding the
thing too
backlash
next?
and the controversy? And then, oh man, how many times have we said the sentence, "People are pissed off at Piers Morgan right now"? Because yeah, that's kind of a constant state of being for Piers Morgan. Though this time it appears to be connected to last night, him airing an interview with Andrew Tate on Talk TV.
Okay, this means we need to finish watching this before we watch Philip DeFranco,
Between Israel
because we
and
want
Hamas
to
in Gaza.
come to our own conclusions.
What is your view of this war?
I think when you call it a war, you're doing a disservice to the people who are having their limbs blown off by some of the most advanced technical weaponry on the planet. It is a genocide, and it is disgusting. And it doesn't matter which side of the political spectrum you fall on. When you observe a genocide in front of your very eyes, you should be...
Whoa!
Which side is waging genocide?
The Israelis are genociding the Palestinians, and
I did not see that coming. How does Andrew Tate have a better take on the fucking Israel-Hamas war than like a shit ton of Democrats?
you know it as well as everybody
don't
else
know
does.
that.
Well, then it seems like your bosses are not allowing you to know it.
What do you
perhaps.
think of what Hamas did on October 7th?
Why are you starting the
So
story
happened
in the middle?
I
in
just
CNN.
asked you about the wider war. I'm now
I
asking
can't
you specifically
professionally.
about
I
Hamas.
cannot professionally answer that question without talking about the context that led up to October 7th.
Well, nothing to my mind justifies what happened on October the 7th.
Nothing justifies what happened before October the 7th, Piers. This is the exact point. So you're talking to a man. I don't know what answer you expect from me, because let's forget the fact I'm a Muslim. You're talking to a man who is fighting oppression to the best of his ability because he believes that the people in charge of the world are enslaving us all, to the point where I detriment my own life. I end up in a jail cell because I'm
I'm, like,
speaking against
freaking
oppression.
out
Then
right
you're
now.
asking me what I would do if my family was
You're not
blown
in a
to
jail.
pieces.
You're not in a jail. Hang on.
You're asking me
You're
what I
not-
would do if another government
Andrew,
came along and
you
blew
weren't-
my family to pieces?
You weren't put in a jail cell because of any oppression.
Absolutely, I was.
You weren't.
Of course
You
I
were
was.
put in
He's
jail cell because you've been
falsely
accused of serious
equivocating.
sexual
I would not have
crimes.
been
How can he equivocate the fucking Israel-Hamas war to his situation? Okay, that's just like stupid. So like you can see like I don't even know if his like take on the Israel-Hamas war is actually real or if he's just pandering.
Accused if I was not monumentally successful in speaking the truth.
Let me ask you again. It's a simple question. Some people can answer it straight away, including pro-Palestinians people I've had on my program. Many are very quick to say absolutely. Do you believe Hamas are a terror organization?
And that's a very interesting question, but I think you're peddling asininities.
Well, just answer the question.
Can somebody do me a favor? Google asininities and find out if it's a
I know
word.
what it means.
If it's not, make sure it's added to Webster on Top G's orders.
Okay. Just, are they a terror group?
You're peddling asininities because I'll tell you why, Pierce. Let me answer the
No, I'm
question.
not.
Of course you are.
It's a simple question.
That's
What?
like me
I'll tell
asking.
you why
I
I
think
asked, because
it's
the UK, where you
asinine.
were born,
He's trying to say
prescribes
asinine
Hamas
stuff.
as a terror
They
organization.
also prescribe me as dangerous to children in schools. Let me explain something to you, Pierce.
You're not
If I were to
prescribed
sit-
as that.
If I were to sit here and say, is stealing wrong? And you'd say yes, and I go, but what if the person stealing is trying to feed their family, and if they don't, their family are going to die? Is it still wrong? You're trying to take a
So you're
very
equating-
nuanced and complicated argument
No.
and reduce it down to
No, I'm
one
not.
sentence,
No, I'm
which
not.
is failure.
You're trying to equate stealing with a mob of terrorists breaking over a border, going to peaceful...
Is that what Israel did?
Wait a minute.
A mob of terrorists breaking over
Let me
borders
finish.
and killing people. Is that what Israel did?
Going through a border on October the 7th.
Oh, October the 7th.
Massacring young people at a festival, massacring families in their homes in a kibbutz, setting fire to them, cutting their heads off, killing babies.
Oh, killing 40 babies, that was true.
Well, fine.
That was false, actually.
Why are you being flippant?
I'm not being flippant. The point I am making...
I find that funny.
No, but the point I am making is that the media lies, firstly.
No,
Secondly...
I can ask you about different things at the same time, right?
Sure.
So I'm asking you, first of all, specifically, what is your reaction to what happened on October the 7th?
Sure. I'll answer the question professionally. I do not condone the loss of human life on either side. I think anybody doing anything which directly damages civilians is disgusting and abhorrent. However, I would be an amateur if I could not sit and pretend I do not understand the motivations behind either side. This is not even me taking a side. I understand why Israel is doing what it's doing. I understand why Palestine is doing what it's doing. However, I still call the Israeli actions absolutely abhorrent and genocidal.
Okay, we're going to come to Israel's actions, I promise you. We will ask that question specifically. But in terms of what Hamas did on October the 7th, do you accept that was an act of terrorism?
It's an interesting question because once
It's not
Yeah, it was.
It's a very straightforward
because
question.
you're the person who would have called Nelson Mandela a terrorist while he was still in jail, and one person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter.
I wouldn't
For
have
me to
called him
answer
that.
the question, yes, you would have. For me to answer the question, I have to be very professional, Piers. For me to sit on the outside in Romania with no personal involvement in Israel-Palestine, it's easy for me to say, yes, it was an act of terror. However, if I was in Gaza, if I was in an open-air prison, if my family had been annihilated by bombs from the sky, if everybody I knew had suffered the loss of a loved one, if I had no chance of any kind of freedom or democracy or standard of life, would I believe it was an act of terror, or would I believe it's an act of resistance against oppression? You have to be very careful how you answer these questions.
So what do you think?
I think I understand what happens when you take people and put them in such an inhumane condition. For
Sounds like
anybody
you-
to sit and say that you're going to take people and put them in absolutely inhumane conditions and give them no standard of life, and they're not allowed to ever fight back, or they are
But I can
terrorists.
agree with you.
Anyone who
Well,
does
wait a
that
minute.
is an amateur.
I can agree with you that the plight of the Palestinians for many decades has been absolutely shameful.
So what did we think was going to happen,
Wait a-
Piers?
No, nothing justifies what happened on October the 7th.
So what are they supposed to do?
Nothing.
So what are they supposed to
That
do?
was an act of medieval barbaric terrorism. Nothing justifies it.
Did they suffer
And your
acts
attempt
of
to-
medieval?
your-
Did they suffer
your attempt
acts
to
of
try and
medieval
equivocate-
Did they suffer acts of medieval barbaric terrorism before that date? Yes. And it's unfortunately an eye for an eye in this world.
Tell me-
I'm not condoning.
Give me-
I'm being a professional and answering
Give
to
me
you
one
why it
example.
happened.
Give me one example of where Israel, without any provocation, went into a specific question. Went into Gaza and massacred 1,500 innocent
He's
people,
very
cutting
animated.
their heads off, taping and boasting about what they'd done back to their families in Israel, kidnapping Holocaust survivors. They wouldn't, of course, have done that in their case, but kidnapping old grandmothers and bringing them back to Israel, kidnapping babies, kidnapping children. When has Israel actually gone in and done something of the scale of October the 7th?
There's literally endless examples of that.
Give me one.
In 2014, they were bombing civilians.
Give me-
And
no.
you know what, Piers? Let me tell you something.
I'm not talking
an
about.
expert. No,
I'm not
let me
talking
answer.
about what they would
Let me-
categorise as retaliation for rocket strikes. And there's an arguable point, as there is, for example, I'm vehemently against the expansion of the settlements on the West Bank. I think there are legitimate questions about the proportionality of Israel's response here.
Yeah,
but in
legitimate questions.
But in terms of what Hamas perpetrated on October the 7th, there is no instance of Israel doing that to the people of Gaza.
First
And you
things
have to
first.
They're
accept
just
that. But
doing
don't
it in
accept
a different way,
You're either
though.
deluded or you're
You're
deliberately not
starving
wanting
people.
to say the obvious, which is that was an act of terrorism because you're concerned about upsetting people in Palestine. Is that the case?
Let me go back to my first point when I said you're peddling asininities. The reason I said that is because to look at a situation, no
Was
matter how
asininities
heinous,
a
and
word,
to ignore
though?
all of the context and pretend that you do not understand why said situation happened
Nothing
is
justifies terrorism on that scale. Nothing.
Is asinine.
No, it's not.
It is. Because it's not about justification.
Let me
Piers.
tell you why.
Piers, it's not about justification.
Let me tell you.
It's about understanding the realities of the world.
Let me tell you the reality of the world. Hamas came to power in 2005. Hamas's initial founding
I don't know if
charter
that's how
made
you
it
say
clear that they
plural,
are for
but
the eradication of
asininity
Israel.
is a word. I
And
know
on October the 7th,
asinine.
they proved what
I know
that means is they
asininity
will kill every
word,
Jew
but I
they
don't
can
know
get
if
their hands on.
plural
They
of
are an existential
asininity
threat
exists.
to people in Israel and to Jewish people. And that is, I'm afraid, the purest personification of a terror group. I also think by doing what they did, as they have done since 2005, they weren't representing innocent Palestinian people in Gaza.
Who are suffering
they,
now.
they knew, yes, but Hamas knew when they did what they did that Israel would respond the way they did and that thousands of innocent Palestinians would get killed. They knew that, and they still did it. So my question for you is, why can't you, which is my position on this, is very straightforward. What Hamas did was an act of terror. An absolutely despicable act of terror, and should be called exactly what it is. And they are now demonstrably a terrorist group. That is why they were rightly prescribed that by the UK and America and other countries. And to try and pretend they're not makes you sound like Jeremy Corbyn. I can't think of a worse insult to throw at you, right? So
I don't think me and Corbyn agree on
but
that.
I also think there are legitimate questions to come about the way Israel's responded. We can come to that. But I just want to ask you one more time. Is what Hamas did on October the 7th an act of terrorism?
I think, Piers, it is peddling asininities for you to pretend that enslaving
So you sound
people...
like Jeremy Corbyn.
No, let me answer the question.
15 times he refused to answer the
Let me
question.
answer the
All
question.
all they have all pro-Israel people, even in the UK, all they have to do is throw out the socialist word, socialist politician. That's their catch-all. You know, like freaking Andrew Tate is like the farthest thing from a socialist. How could you compare him to fucking Jeremy Corbyn? Come on.
You're now about 3 or 4.
If you look,
Are they a terror group or not?
they're one team's freedom fighter, and they're deemed a terrorist
What do
group.
you think?
I think that if you lock people in an open-air prison and steal their land, they're going to retaliate.
So they're not a terror group.
I think they're going to retaliate.
They're not a terror group.
One team's terrorist is another
Okay, we're
team's
now up
freedom
to
fighter.
about 8. Are they a terror group?
And also, another thing I want to make clear to you, Piers.
Only Jeremy Corbyn has done this.
Done what?
Refused to answer the question.
I think that what they are doing is seemingly deemed an act of terror by the people that the terror...
Don't use weaselly words.
They're not weaselly. Of course the Israelis think they're a terror group, and of course the Palestinians
Actually,
think they're freedom fighters.
most
It's
of the-
stupid that you're asking the question.
Most of
because
the
it's clear.
civilized world thinks they're a terror group who committed an act of terrorism. It's not difficult. What they did was an act of terrorism.
And I think that if Israel continues to
I'm gonna come
conduct
to-
acts of
I'm
terrorism
going to come-
on the Palestinian people, they're going to...
Should I
do
put on
nothing
some
but
powder?
strengthen the reaction.
That's a different conversation I'm about to have with you about Israel's response. But before I get there, one more time, is Hamas a terror group who committed an act of terrorism?
I think that when you lock people in an open-air prison, you're going to have
Okay,
to
you're not
expect
gonna
a
answer.
retaliation.
You're not
No,
gonna
because
answer.
I have to... There's people who are... First things I want to say,
If you
Piers.
don't mind me saying, I think it's spineless.
Sure.
I do.
That's fine.
You sound like Jeremy Corbyn.
Well, that isn't an
Did you
insult.
see my interview with him?
No.
Right, 15 times last week, I asked him the same question. 15 times he prevaricated and wouldn't answer. Eventually, when someone does that enough times, you know what they really think.
Okay.
You don't think they're a terror group.
Well, let me answer...
You don't
without
think
being
they're a terror
interrupted.
group.
No, what I think is this. On certain
Because I'd be
scenarios...
really curious what you think an act of terror is if it's not massacring 1,500 innocent people,
It's not
including Holocaust survivors,
Piers.
kidnapping babies, decapitating
Piers.
people.
Wait,
cutting-
that's not. I think that's been debunked. I think that's false. The decapitation of babies. I think they've killed people and stuff like that, but like decapitating like 40 babies or something, that was some like propaganda peddled by the U.S. and Israel.
their limbs
Piers.
off, raping women.
Yeah, talk about missing limbs. We're going to talk about that when we talk about what
We are,
Israel's done.
but
So
when we
let's-
get there, it will be in the context of you not admitting that was an act of terror.
Well, let me answer the question for the final time. I am a realist. And as a realist, sometimes you do not come to the conclusion of labeling good guys and bad guys. The world is not black and white.
Hamas are bad guys.
No, the world is not black and white. The world is actually very gray. Anybody who sits and thinks there's
Nothing
clearly a
gray
good
about
guy...
what...
Okay, I do think Hamas is bad. Like, I don't think saying Hamas is bad is incongruent with like being like ceasefire, like being pro-Israel and pro-Palestine at the same time. I don't think condemning Hamas is mutually exclusive.
There's
And
nothing
there's
gray
clearly a
about
good
what
guy
Hamas
and
did.
clearly a bad guy does not understand how the world works. And as a realist, what you do is you look at scenarios and you understand why they happen, how unfortunate they are, how unfortunate the loss of human life is, how civilians die on both sides, how innocents are dying in a chess game played by the elites on both sides.
Okay.
Both sides, you have innocent people who didn't even vote for the person making the decisions, who are ensuring their death, signing their death warrants. It's unfortunate on both sides.
Okay.
But listen, sir, you would not advocate Russia doing any of the things to Ukraine that Israel is doing to to Palestine. You would not sit
Russia
here.
has been doing exactly that.
Russia
to
has
Ukraine.
not done a fraction
Russia
of the things to
illegally-
Ukraine.
Russia-
that Israel
But
has
he's
done.
pro-Russia.
Russia illegally invaded a sovereign democratic country and has
He makes no
committed a
sense.
barbaric rampage, trying to seize as much of Ukraine as it can, bombing maternity hospitals,
Let me ask you a
killing
question.
innocent women
Let me
and
ask you a
children.
question.
Right? Don't even
Bombing
try-
maternity hospitals.
this is-
What do you think Israel is doing? They just bombed the biggest hospital in Gaza, and they said they did this 3D animation of all of their intel that they knew so good. They knew exactly where all the tunnels were and what the whole network looked like. But when they barged in, the videos that they produced, where are all this huge network of tunnels? They showed one tunnel. They didn't go inside it because they were afraid it was booby trapped. But that's all you got to show for cutting fuel off of this hospital and all of that. Like, no electricity, no fuel, no food, no water, nothing. That is what you call the headquarters of Hamas. And then they come back and revise the story when they couldn't find anything. Oh, they actually moved south and moved all of their shit there. Okay, so if your intelligence was so good, why didn't you know that they had moved to the south? And if you did know that they moved to the south, why did you have to invade the hospital in the north? Just go straight to the headquarters if you're being surgical, or if you're not just trying to kill everyone, you know? And why tell everyone to, like, and if you knew that they were going to the south, like, why are you telling people to go down to the south where it's supposedly safe? Makes no sense.
Genuine question.
Equivocation of this.
I will. A Hamas rocket, a tiny Hamas rocket that can make a pothole in the road, and then they get hit back with cruise missiles. Let me ask you a question. Ukraine sent a drone and it hit the Kremlin. A drone attack. It did nothing. It damaged some shingles. If Russia decided to then respond with a missile attack on a hospital and annihilate 800 people,
It has been.
do you think that would be allowed?
That's exactly what it has been.
Would you advocate for that?
Have you seen?
Would you support that
Have you
reaction?
seen the state of Mariupol, which they leveled to the ground?
The Ukrainians did level it.
The
You're
Russian,
correct.
no, the Russians.
2014.
The
Get with
Russians
the program.
leveled Mariupol.
And my question to you is, would you advocate those reactions? Let me ask you another question, Piers.
No,
This is a genuine
okay.
question. Let me ask you a question, because I want to understand
No,
your point
it's
of view.
actually my interview of you.
Yeah,
so
but you tried to understand mine. I just want to understand your point of view. If I believed, or if Israel believed, that one of the people in your house was a terrorist and decided to destroy your entire house and kill your entire family, would you sit and say, well, maybe there was a terrorist inside, I accept that? Or would you be enraged? Genuine question.
I don't think you can take an individual person's response.
Well, it's a bunch of individual people in Gaza.
Yeah,
They're
sure.
individuals with
All right,
thoughts and
let's
dreams and aspirations
Fine.
which are being annihilated. 15-year-old girls without legs because
Fine.
of cruise
No,
missiles.
let's come to
they
that.
are individual people.
Let's
They're
come-
not cattle, Piers.
Let's come to
They're
that.
people.
Right, and so were the people in Israel on October the 7th.
And that's why it's so heinous, which
Right.
is my exact point.
But not heinous enough to reach your bar of terrorism.
It's not about
Let's
reaching
move.
bar of
Let's
terrorism.
move. No,
It's understanding why things happen.
By not saying it, you've made your position clear, just as Jeremy Corbyn did. And to pretend you're any different is ridiculous. Let's move on to Israel's response, because there are legitimate questions about this. Hamas embeds itself, 35, 40,000 terrorists in my estimation, you can call them whatever you like. And they're embedded amongst the civilian population, predominantly in northern Gaza. We know from intelligence over the last 20 years, which you won't believe because the Matrix has made it all up,
Correct.
but we know from intelligence that historically Hamas likes to embed itself, particularly around things like schools and hospitals and mosques, because that makes it more difficult if the Israelis attack.
Yeah.
Now, Israel has killed nearly 12,000 people in its response, right? There are many people around the world demanding a ceasefire who think that is a ridiculously disproportionate response
genocide.
to what happened. Well, it was genocide. They would want to kill everyone in Palestine. They don't.
They just want to drive them all out.
Whereas Hamas do want to kill every Jew. That is actually what genocide is.
You know what's actually interesting? Because you've spoken about this subject of people more who actually understand the conflict better than I do. Mohammed Hijab understands it better. Low-key understands it better. I'm talking from a very general humanistic perspective because I don't understand the absolute intricacies like they do.
Do you know what genocide means?
Of course I do.
Right.
It's
Genocide means you want to eradicate an entire people based on race or ethnicity. Israel clearly doesn't want to do that to the Palestinian people.
Clearly not.
If it did, it wouldn't tell a million of them, as it turned out, who moved south. Now, there are arguments about whether
To attack them as they moved.
Well, some people got hit as they moved.
Oh, some people got hit.
Yes.
Some people got hit.
You know what,
You know
Andrew?
what happens?
You know what, Andrew?
Wait till it's your son, son.
You know what?
Wait till it's your
I
son.
agree. And you know what, Andrew? War is horrific. It's horrific. The question is it a just war for Israel to go after Hamas? And if it is, and you believe as I do, Hamas has to be got rid of, how do you do that? If you don't do it the way Israel is doing it, how do you get rid of that terror group? Now, you won't agree with anything they're doing because you can't even categorize them as a terror group.
No, the reason I won't agree with them is because I'm a human, Piers. Please let me answer this. You didn't answer my earlier question for a reason, because you knew that you couldn't answer it without proving my
question?
point. The question about the fact that if they decided to cruise missile your house because they thought somebody inside was a terrorist, you would not accept the loss of your family that you have raised. You would not accept that.
Of course I wouldn't.
Okay, absolutely. So let me answer this as a professional. What's funny is I'm a humanist. Like I said,
Professional what, by the way?
I'm the professional.
What
Please
does
let me
that
answer.
mean?
Let me answer.
What are you speaking? You say you're speaking to
And
professional.
I'm talking about this from a humanistic perspective, right? And like I said, you've talked to people more knowledgeable than me on the details of the subject.
Right.
Listen to me very carefully. I thought we lived in a democratic society. You just said 35,000 Hamas terrorists, and this is the thing that's most upsetting to me. This is what genuinely upsets me. Israel intelligence will say a guy's a Hamas terrorist. Has that guy gone to a court of law? Has there been a democratic process? Has he been proven to be a terrorist? No. They've just decided from their intelligence that couldn't see an invasion coming from hundreds of miles away. So this intelligence is
Actually, no.
It's not great.
No.
So they've decided this person might be in intelligence without court case, without any kind of democratic process, and because of that, they've decided to annihilate civilians along with him, and it's all just collateral damage, and nobody should care. That is not a humanistic perspective, and that is disgusting. And any person in the West who is advocating for that is a hypocrite. Because if it was turned on them,
Right.
if the American government said, we think the person in your shopping mall, one of the people you were shopping alongside in the mall, might have committed a crime. We didn't take them to court. We think they might have, so we killed your whole family.
All right.
Get over it.
So the last time
is a clown and a hypocrite.
So the last time.
What do you expect full-grown men to do?
I'm about to respond.
What do you expect full-grown men to do when you kill all of their families and leave them locked in an open air
Let me
prison?
respond. The last time that Jewish people faced an existential threat was in World War II, and the Nazis, who wanted to take over the
Dude, just because, okay, this is going to sound a little bit harsh, okay? Just because, like, you don't want to become the demon, right? Like, you don't want to become the Nazis. Like, the Jewish people do not want to become the bullies, the murderers, the genocidal people. Just because it happened to you does not give it license for you to do it to other people. And I'm just trying to think. That sounds kind of blunt. I mean, that's who I am. It's like the New Yorker in me. But I'm just trying to think of this. I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't have family members. I'm not personally from Palestine. I'm not Palestinian. I'm not Israeli. I'm not from that area. I'm trying to think of an analogy of a situation where, like, I guess when the Japanese invaded China and Hong Kong, that doesn't give the Chinese and the Hong Kongers a license to then be like, never again. And then, like, just like murder the Japanese people. Like, I don't think that that's right. And like, because Japan is a serious violence. So, like, what if China decided to do a complete blockade of the Japanese strait? What is it called? A stretch of water between mainland China and Japan. They just laid complete siege to it, just like what Israel and Egypt are doing to Gaza. And then Japan, like, rallies up their army and, like, tries to break out. You know, tries to get more food. They're sick of starving. They're sick of seeing people die. Blah. They don't see any future. If we're gonna die here, I might as well die a martyr. Like kamikaze shit, you know? Like, I just feel I'm trying to figure out a way to illustrate it where it's removed from the heavily charged term anti-Semite by removing Jewish people and Israel completely. So I'm trying to see this in another culture, another country. Because the Japanese did, in fact, invade mainland China and Hong Kong. Actually, on the same day they attacked Hong Kong, they attacked Pearl Harbor. That is what I was taught. Let's see if it is true. Japanese invasion Hong Kong happened on the 8th. Okay. On the 8th of December, 1941. Oh, it lasted and ended on Christmas Day. The fucking British lost. They should have had more presence, like fucking troop presence. I've always been like pissed off about that. And then of course the Japanese, I mean the Chinese army was nothing back then. In the 40s, it was nothing. Pearl Harbor. That was on the 7th. So it was the same day, but like because of time differences, it seems like a different day. But like they attacked on the same day, basically. On the same morning as the attack on Pearl Harbor, forces of the Empire of Japan attacked the British Crown colony of Hong Kong around the same time that Japan declared war on Great Britain. Fucking shit. Does that mean that the Chinese and the people in Hong Kong have a right to fucking starve and lay complete siege to the Japanese people and kill them? That did happen eventually by the US, but that doesn't follow this what is it, metaphor? I don't know, like that I'm trying to construct.
The world and kill every Jewish person. The Nazis were ultimately defeated by Winston Churchill leading the Allies. And Winston Churchill, in the process of defeating the Nazis, killed a lot of German innocent civilians.
Hi, whatever,
Do you think that
fool.
was justified?
Let me ask a question.
Was it? Well, no, I asked the question.
That's funny.
Was it justified?
Sir, I believe, and let me just get this right in my head.
Yeah, think about it.
No, I don't need to think about your question. I believe that the Nazis, which were obviously heinous, I'm not advocating anything they did, it's disgusting, the Nazis. I'm glad we beat them. I'm actually a huge
Were they
fan.
terrorists?
Yeah, they were.
Right.
So
Fool.
I believe that they
So
were.
when
Why?
you massacre Jewish people,
Is
you're
that your
terrorists.
name?
When you-
Except when you do it in Israel.
Your
When
name
you
is
try and
Fool?
conduct genocide on a populace,
Like
because
your
you don't
proper
want them
name.
on land you say is yours, then you are terrorists.
It's exactly what Hamas did on October
Exactly
the
what
7th.
Israel had did before that.
So you've literally just described what Hamas do.
You just described what Israel do. They're trying to genocide the Palestinians as we speak. And this is the exact point.
So,
To sit
so
here-
Israel.
No, but to sit
what?
here-
Hang on, do you think Israel are terrorists?
I think that what they're doing now is disproportionate and
Is
genocide.
it
You're such a
It's
you're a
genocidal, So
troll.
I guess that makes it terrorism. It's
Right, so
genocidal.
they're terrorists for responding to an act of terror, but the people who committed the act of terror are not terrorists.
The way in which they're responding.
You see the
is
problem with that
disproportionate.
argument?
No.
Really?
Pierce, what they are doing
it's-
now.
it's
Slaughtering
an
1,500 people
anti-what
the way they did it is
name?
not an act of terror by terrorists, but a response from the people who are on the receiving end,
I'm so
rather like the
confused.
response
Did
of
you
the
say 12
Allies
did you say
in World War
12,000
II
people?
to what the Nazis did. That apparently is the only act of terrorism.
Didn't you say 12,000 people the Israelis have killed this
Oh, I
time?
Yes.
get it.
I saw a video of a 15-year-old
I
girl
think.
with no legs begging to die.
I'm not sure.
She was begging to die, saying, "I have no future because my
Yeah.
parents are gone or my legs are gone.
It's
I have no
horrific.
future." No,
Mr.
but you
Tater
say
Tot
that,
here is
right?
back.
You talk about numbers and statistics, and you say a few people got caught. You don't think of
I'm
dozens. You don't think of
okay. Low key though, like Andrew Tate, I don't agree with 100% of his take on Israel and Hamas war, but I was shocked at his take actually. I knew he was a recent convert to Islam, but I didn't expect his take to be so pro-Palestinian to the point where he can't denounce Hamas. Like that's a little bit ridiculous to me.
as Muslims and Palestinians as individual people.
Oh, yes, I do.
No, you don't. Because
Oh,
if you
I do.
did, if you
Oh, I
did,
do.
if you did, you
Oh, no.
would be.
Well, yeah, obviously. He's just like, because he's been banned off of every social media site, so that's why he's on Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan loves the attention of having pro-Palestinian people on and like controversial figures too. So he gets ratings. So he gets shit out of it too. He likes to present himself like, oh, I'm just a journalist that's like asking questions, having a conundrum on this war. I'm on neither side. But really, he's more pro-Israel.
Don't you dare say that about me.
Well, okay, then don't put
No.
them together in numbers.
No,
They're not numbers.
I
they're people.
spoke.
I know, because they're like, we don't want him. Take him. Because he's so racist and bad. Like, he's so bad. I'm not surprised at all. And in British society, in high society, like, that shit ain't gonna stand. But, like, it's crazy that, like, Tate has a better take on the war. So, I was just very shocked. This is the second part, obviously, here of the video, of the interview. Like, the first part was, like, an hour or so long. I watched it in my earlier stream. That's a long and complicated question.
For many years.
I'd say I'm from two places.
It's about applying to the Palestinian people. I
But
think it's outrageous that Israel has
culture,
any control
I think,
over their ability to function with water,
I'm from three cultures.
with fuel, with other energy, and so on, and
Okay,
food and so on.
that's interesting.
It is
So
wrong.
if you were in Gaza as a Gazan male of masculine fighting age, and you believed the
Bro is making up words. Asininities. I've heard of asinine and asininity, but I've not heard of asininities. Bro's making up words.
things you currently believe,
Yeah.
what would you do about it? I'm just asking.
You know what? Nothing justifies
Yeah,
terrorism.
I never said he said terrorism.
that's why he fled England, right? Is because of like shit that was going on, and like Big Brother kicked him off of Big Brother because of all that shit going on. So, and then he fled to Romania and he started doing like heinous crimes that he was in jail for a while for, and then now he's in like house arrest, I think, and then he's waiting for his trial, which I will cover if it's available live. I will cover the fucking Tater Tot trial.
What you did.
No. I understand why people in Palestine feel oppressed. I understand why they want freedom. I understand why they want the same rights as the people in Israel.
Then here's a perfect.
On that
okay.
we agree.
Absolutely,
But
we
nothing.
agree.
But nothing justifies what happened on October.
Well, here's
7th.
where we disagree, Piers, because as a professional, when we both agree on the point that the people inside of Gaza are being oppressed,
Tater
and
Tot
their
was a
life is being
bouncer?
detrimented,
Yeah.
and that they have no way of getting out.
Yes.
We, as a professional,
And I do agree with that.
I understand pressure cookers explode. You're pretending they shouldn't. You're saying that they should never explode. Nothing bad should ever happen.
saying nothing justifies terrorism.
We should just be allowed to subjugate them
No,
for
no.
endless years,
Here's
and
my-
nothing happens.
no.
And I'm a realist to understand that pressure cookers explode.
No, you're not.
And that's what
No,
happens.
you're not.
We need a solution to the problem, or it
Actually,
will continue to happen.
You're not a realist because actually you are not accepting that what they did on October the 7th was an act of terrorism by terrorists. You won't accept that. You
Yeah,
think
I
obviously
do
they're
like
freedom
that
fighters
name.
doing some kind of resistance, and I say that is
Because I would
ridiculous
like to be
and shameful.
eating tater tots
That's the
right now,
difference
but I
between
can't
us.
because I'm
I
on a
understand that
diet.
pressure cookers explode. Piers.
Right. So
I'm
you think it's
thinking about
perfectly reasonable.
prosciutto that's
it's
in my
reasonable. I think
fridge.
it's
That's what I could
Natural
munch
consequence.
I think
on.
it's a shame.
A shame. That's it.
I think it's a shame that we're living in the world now where people are reduced to basically suicide to try and fight for
Or
freedom
oat
for their
bran,
families,
vanilla
if they
oat
have
bran.
one left.
That
Because
would
they
be
all
nice,
committed
too.
suicide, those men who did that.
Well, the
Because
Hamas-
they didn't have a chance of survival. I think when you
Well, that's because they believe that they're martyring themselves and going to a
because
better
when you
life.
oppress people to the point where their family's dead and they have nothing to live for.
So
And
you-
I think that's a shame.
So do you support Islamic fundamentalism?
Absolutely not.
Do you support an Islamist ideology?
Absolutely not.
Right.
What I support.
So why do you support Hamas?
I support justice in
You
the
support
universe.
Hamas?
I support justice in the universe.
Do you
Piers.
support Hamas?
No.
You don't.
Well, I don't know the ins and outs of Hamas's creed. I have to be very honest.
Well, you know what they did on October the 7th. Do you support them?
I understand why that happened, and I'm
Right.
saying it's a shame.
But you
If
won't
I could
denounce-
eat what I
it's
want,
a
I would
shame.
be
Do you
Do you
like
condemn them?
200 pounds.
I can't sit here
Okay,
and
maybe
condemn
that's
the
a lot.
obvious
I'd be like
outcome
180.
of
Wow.
consequence.
Maybe 160
How
pounds
can
if I
actually
ate
help
everything that I
Condemn Hamas for
wanted.
what they did.
Well, we know what's going to happen. and we need a solution.
You're
here.
very quick to condemn Israel's
Maybe
response,
150.
but you won't
150 to
condemn the
160.
terror attack.
I would explode
No, I'll
in
tell you
weight.
why.
Even though Hamas knew by doing what they were doing, that would be the response.
No, but I wouldn't be happy
Of course
though.
they knew that.
You think they knew
Because
the
I
Israelis
like
did it
fitting
quite
into the
deliberately.
clothes
You know
that I
why?
have. I don't
Because
want to
they
buy
were
a whole new
funded and
closet.
supported by Iran. They didn't like the fact that Israel was normalized.
And your
relations
bones
with a
start
bunch of
hurting,
Arab
like your
countries,
knees,
from
your
the UAE
elbows,
to
and
Bahrain
it's,
to
you know.
Morocco, and then coming down the line was going to be Saudi Arabia.
You're
That was
less
a
healthy
threat
and
to
stuff.
the Iran view of what should be happening in that region. Iran are the ones who support and fund and arm Hamas, and they clearly, in my estimation, it hasn't been properly established yet, but clearly Hamas couldn't have done this on their own. They've done it with support from Iran, and they've gone and committed an
What?
act of such heinous atrocity that they knew what the response would be, and that
Okay, he just snuck that right in there, and how he's saying now Iran is responsible, and now Iran backed Hamas. There's been intelligence saying that the Iranians are like, yo, what the fuck? Like, we didn't know you were gonna do this.
That means that
You
they
just snuck
sentenced
it right in
that
there.
moment not just 1,500 people in Israel to death in the most appalling manner possible, but they also sentenced to death
Well,
thousands
congratulations
and
on
thousands of
quitting
Palestinians, including
smoking
many as
cigarettes.
children, because half the population are children,
I
and
assume-
Hamas knew that was what was going to happen.
do you-
So my
Usually
question is,
most
do you
people
how can
gain
anyone
weight
think that
when
Hamas
they quit
is a force
cigarettes.
for good
I
for
didn't
the
say they're a
Palestinian
force
people?
for good.
They are a
I said they're
force for evil.
unfortunate. No, I didn't say they're a force for good. I said it's a pressure cooker and it's a shame.
But you won't even condemn them.
Let me ask the question. Do you think if we gave the Palestinian people basic human rights, that Hamas would find it more difficult to recruit new soldiers?
Look, I think
Probably.
I think
Probably we treat them like
I think-
humans.
I-
This won't happen.
I think the
so
instinct-
we agree and let's move on.
I think there's a real danger.
How?
in the scale of
How
Israel's
does Tate have a better take on this fucking war than fucking Piers Morgan? Like, what is going on?
response that you radicalize a whole new generation
Agreed.
of Palestinians. I think
Oh,
that's
you
a
did.
real danger.
So
and,
perhaps-
and by the way, I've said that. We can agree on
So
that.
perhaps it was Israel's actions before October 7th that radicalized the soldiers who invaded. So you agree with me. So let's move on.
No, I don't. No, nothing
You just
justifies what they did. Let me ask you about the reaction that you've had from certain people who I think at one stage you had a good relationship with.
Sure.
One is
Yeah,
Jordan
he just
Peterson,
likes the
and other one, Ben
ratings.
Shapiro. Let's talk about Jordan first.
Sure.
You've had a bit of a to and fro with him, but what is your view of him?
I think Jordan and I actually agree on many issues. I think the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I think we have a lot more in common than we have that we disagree on. We have different views of the world on certain things. I think we approach him from different places. He's far more in his mind, whereas I live in more in a physical realm than he does. I have nothing against Jordan. I don't dislike him. I do find it, and I must be honest, a bit disingenuous and hypocritical that he speaks mental strength and then ends up addicted to an antidepressant. I don't think he should ever take antidepressants ever. I've been through worse than what he's been through, and I didn't.
It was not an antidepressant. A, it was a benzodiazepine. B, now he's going to talk about how like he doesn't believe in mental illness and that he couldn't admit to saying crying when he was in jail, but he said tears, like after so much nudging and pushing from Piers, he finally admitted that tears might have rolled down his face, but he was like, but I never cried.
Single drug. However, I have nothing against the guy. He says very intelligent things, and I'd be interested to argue with him or discuss or debate with him, but I think we'd actually agree on most points, to be honest with you. I don't think he may be unhappy with somehow how I've lived my life and some things I've done, but we've already discussed the fact that I come from the lowest income area of the UK, and most people around me were selling drugs, so at least I didn't do that. So I'm not going to allow somebody who's a professor
Well, stick
at
around,
university with an
fool.
easy life come along and tell me how people from the streets should survive. You have to find a way out. Let's get rich or die trying. But I have nothing against the guy. I just think that he's been a bit hypocritical, and then, truthfully, the only time I've been genuinely a bit appalled by any of his actions was the tweet he made on Israel-Palestine, when he said, give them hell. I know that's an easy thing to say, and it's an expression that people use, and they throw it around flippantly. But I think when you actually wish hell upon other human beings, I think it's a disgusting thing to do, because hell is that 15-year-old girl with no legs and her parents were dead.
Well, hell
and when
is-
you see her crying her eyes out, begging to die, that is hell. And I don't think you should genuinely wish hell on anyone, Israel or Palestinian, anyone. I'm a humanist. I don't want anybody to die.
Well, he did-
when he was wishing hell on an entire population,
He did express regret for the way he phrased
and
that
he
tweet.
should,
And he
because
issued
it's
a 20
disgusting. I've not wished hell on the Israelis. I've not wished hell on the Israeli state. I don't want any Israeli civilian to go through what that 15-year-old Palestinian girl's going through. Not a single one.
He said about you, Jordan
Worse,
Peterson, I'm not
like
particularly
I've
happy
seen
with
10-year-olds,
I think there are some
10-year-old
elements of what
orphans
he
that
does that are
have
quite
lost both of
reprehensible.
their legs.
I'm sure he has. I don't know everything he says, and he may disagree with some of my points of view. As I said, I have nothing against him. I don't think anything he says is particularly wrong. I think that he's hypocritical because of the antidepressant problem, and I think that the fact he wishes hell on other humans because he gets emotionally involved in a conflict.
Do I have a guest
within
star?
2 minutes of it sparking off,
What
he's
do you
wishing
mean?
genocide. I think that says a lot about his personality. But overall, when he speaks at length, a lot of the things he says are pretty well thought through and pretty constructive. I have nothing against the guy.
Let me turn to Ben Shapiro. He said, let me assure you, as someone who's not pimped women and bragged about it, that morality requires that those who rape women and kidnap women must be eradicated, not negotiated with. He says, on my show, I won't be lectured on morality and toughness like Andrew Tate. His great idea of toughness and morality is pimping women and bragging about it, and then trying to quasi-walk it back.
Is that
while
a thing?
simultaneously maintaining many of the same positions and flexing his biceps. Listen, everyone should be able to tweet whatever it is they want. I'm all for an open discourse, even with people who I think are dead wrong on a lot of issues. But Andrew Tate is dead wrong on a lot of these issues.
I've never tried
The
guest
particularly
star.
ridiculous posturing about being yes, you're very tough when you want people to make peace with terrorists who've just murdered their children. Very, very tough. What do you say to that?
So Ben is a warmonger. Ben has been wrong on basically every single issue you can name. He's with you with the vaccine and every other war. Ben is always calling for other people's young men to go and die in some war. He seems to love it.
What do
Whether
you
he has short
stream
man syndrome,
about?
But he's always behind his desk calling about how important it is that big, strong men like me go and die. And the reason he tweeted that and said that is because when Hamas and Israel, at the very early in the conflict, I think it was 3 days in, were discussing possible peace talks, he tweeted, no, absolutely not, fuck them, kill them all. And I said, Ben, as a man who's done his own fighting, because I've had a life of pain and violence, listen to me. Peace is always worth a conversation. What I said is that we should always be prepared to at least discuss peace. He, because he's a warmonger, said, no, peace is not worth a conversation. You're this, you're that, da-da. Because he's always sitting behind his desk. He must have a booster chair, and he's always running his mouth trying to invoke violence and call for war. And I find it kind of hypocritical because a man who's so small he would die if he was slapped on the street, sitting behind a desk and screaming for other people to be annihilated, I think is kind of, it's worse than
I believe
it's insane.
I believe if he was sitting here listening to this, he would say that what he's screaming for is for Jewish people in Israel better to defend themselves. And he's a Jewish man.
All Ben does is call for war. And I agree. Defending yourself.
That's not all he does.
That's all he does. And calling for war and defending yourself is very different than genocide. And Ben, like I said, overall, most of Ben's worldviews and mine probably align. We don't align on the religious sect. We don't rely on the religious points. Fine. But our overall worldviews about how society should function probably align on many of the key issues. I don't have a beef with Ben, and I don't watch his show, and I have no idea what he talks about a lot of the time. But what I do know is that every time I turn it on, he's calling for someone else's son to go and die in a ditch somewhere for his interests. And I don't like people who are not advocates for peace. Blessed are the peacemakers, said Candace, who's far more intelligent than Ben will ever be. And she is completely
Interesting.
right. He replied that rhetoric, starting an argument with me, when I said we should talk about peace.
I
say we
see
should
you.
talk about peace. He calls for the death of civilians, and somehow we're asking why my point of view is seen as abstract. It's insane. Why can't we all just sit down and say the fighting must end? Why can't we do that? Why can't we sit and say, nobody should be dying, let's stop using the most advanced military weaponry on the planet to blow the limbs off children? Why can't we say that without being deemed some kind
Your
of
room
terrorist
is
sympathizer
insane.
or anti-Semite? It's insanity. Trump came along and didn't start a single war. He's the only one who didn't. And they're going to come along him and say, make him a bad guy. When a new president comes in, it's just endless war and death and killing. Have you seen a dead body, Piers? Have you seen people lose a fucking limb? It's disgusting. I know what's happening over there.
Have you seen that?
I don't need to tell you about the parts of my history that I'm not prepared to share, Piers.
You've
But
seen
I
people-
said it to Ben. I said people who've done their own fighting and seen their own violence and have seen people bleed out in the street from a stab wound are not going to be so smart and so quick to sit behind a desk and call for the death of innocent people. It's disgusting what's happening. I don't want anyone to die on either side. And when I come along as a peacemaker and say, this is insane, because he's a warmonger, because he has chosen blinkers and sees one side of the argument and refuses to accept the humanity.
Are we talking about Biden right now?
He says I'm a bad person for calling for peace.
Well, you know why? Because you probably listen.
Are
to
we
this
talking about
and say,
Shapiro?
This guy can't even describe Hamas as terrorists.
If Ben Shapiro thinks bad of
And
me,
if you don't think what happened to the
Shapiro.
people in Israel October the 7th is an act of terrorism,
did I
Zoned
not
out
just
of
say,
then you are
I want all people
then
to
you are
stop
just
dying?
you are just as partisan to one side as you believe Ben Shapiro
Did
is
I
to the
not
other.
just say I want all people to start dying? Stop dying. Piers, don't interrupt this. It's 2 sentences. I want all people to stop dying. However, I understand what is going to happen when you create a pressure cooker. That is my answer, and it's extremely professional. I don't want anyone to die. And
Dude,
because
your
I don't want
setup
anyone to
is
die,
so much
because I'm
better
a
than
peacemaker,
mine.
Because I'm a humanist, I understand you cannot lock people in an open-air prison for an undetermined period of time without provoking terrorism.
So out of interest, what would you have done if you'd been Israel after October the 7th?
That's a really interesting question, and I think there's people who are more qualified than me to answer.
Given that Hamas last week said we're going to try and do the same thing again and again and again, what would you do to defend the people of Israel?
Good question. They have the Iron Dome, which is largely effective. I think that their border security is usually effective. It's very interesting that it wasn't on.
So you would say they would do nothing other than tighten up security?
I think if I was truthfully, I'll answer the question. If I was truthfully in charge of Israel, I would have found out how our border was penetrated. I would have made sure that was impossible to do.
Yeah, like how did Israel not like suss that out? Isn't like their like intelligence like coveted worldwide?
Conversation
I feel
discourse
like
during that
it
period
was a
probably
huge
took weeks to
intelligence
ensure that my border was
failure.
impenetrable because we were at no genuine threat of a repeat attack. And then I would make it clear that there will be some repercussion unless there would be some repercussion unless we can come to peace terms. I don't think the
But Hamas doesn't want peace.
Of course not. But I'm saying
That's
that's
their
fine.
stated position.
Of course.
So there's not gonna be any
okay,
peace
you're
with
asking
Hamas.
what I'd do. I would have found out first things first. I'm a man, so first things first. You fix the problem. Okay, our border's been penetrated. How do we make sure that doesn't happen again?
Sure,
How
of
did it
course.
happen? Internal investigation.
Of course.
Let's make sure
English.
the border's secure. Now our civilians are safe. Our civilians are safe, which buys us time. Let's have a conversation and see if we can actually reason with Hamas. If we can't, then there might be some
Then
military
what?
intervention.
Then what?
But there certainly wouldn't be bombing hospitals, cruise missiling refugee camps. There wouldn't be any of the things that's going on now. Absolutely
You
not.
wouldn't try and attack the people that
No,
do it.
because this is a rushed and emotional response. And that's what I would have prevented. I would have made sure as a man I didn't make a rushed and emotional response. I would
So
have
you'd
secured my border.
be more like Neville Chamberlain, trying to do peace
Where in
with the Nazis, or
Canada?
Winston Churchill trying to kill them.
Well,
East Coast, West
that's
Coast.
an interesting question.
Please say
You're an
East
appeaser,
Coast.
not a warrior.
Well, I still think I'm a warrior, but I think that when you're a warrior, you have to be very capable and.
Oh, well, that's what Neville Chamberlain's
where
view was.
that
We should do peace with the Nazis.
You have to be very
Yay.
understanding of your power, and you have to use it responsibly.
So are we on
Just
the
like I
same
said
time
earlier, when
zone?
I'm trying to be responsible about what I say to the young men of the world. I would understand as Israel, I must be responsible with my massive military might to make sure I don't kill civilians. And I would sit and try and make a measured response, and I'd be a professional, and I would consider them human beings, and I would secure my border and try and come up with a plan better than, oh no, I'm mad, I'm emotional now, let's go kill everyone. I think that's the wrong response. Correct. I don't think that's the right thing to do.
We've spent a long time talking. You're going to find
Wow,
out
it must be cold
some
there
stage
right
today
now.
or in the next few days whether you're going to get your possessions back. They'll either happen
I
or
used
not
to live in
happen.
New York.
Then there's likely to be a trial,
New York.
and that will
Now
determine
I'm down in
how you
Atlanta.
spend the next 10 years of your life, almost certainly, which is a sobering thought for anyone.
Yeah.
When you look back on the whole arc,
Oh
of the last
shit!
few years.
You're
you know, you've expressed some regret.
an hour
because of
ahead.
your
Interesting.
Turning to
I guess
Islam,
you're farther
changing,
east
your
than
philosophy
New
from a
York.
religious perspective. You've acknowledged that some of the stuff you used to do was immoral. Do you
it's
look
minus
at
4.
the journey you've gone on here and think that in a way, notwithstanding the Matrix and everything else, that maybe you yourself could have done things differently to avoid being in this position?
Absolutely. I'm a man and I take absolute self-accountability. You have to, as a man, your superpower is looking in the mirror. and
Celsius,
understanding everything
right?
that happens to you, both good and bad, to a degree, is your fault. It could have all been influenced. I could have avoided all of this. I could have avoided the Matrix attacks, I could have avoided jail cell, if you don't want me using that term. I could have avoided all the negative press. I could have chosen to work in Starbucks and just stayed a nobody. I made choices that put me in this position. I take responsibility for them. I said things on the internet in a satirical way on videos that got 110 views when YouTube was brand new that I did not expect to become the most viral videos in the world because I didn't expect to become the most famous and known person on the planet. That's all true. I'm not saying I have no part to play in any of this. However, I can still say that I'm completely innocent. I can still say that it's only my fame and notoriety that has inspired the prosecution service to try and even put me in.
Are you clipping funny shit to make fun of me right now? Because you said that was your thing. What are you saying then?
In the first place. I can still say that there's some unfair policing in the world depending on your political views. I can still say all of those things while accepting absolute responsibility for the situation I'm in.
Andrew Tate, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
They're totally in a green screen. Where are they recording this? Oh, he did say he flew to Romania to do this. Huh. Interesting. Okay, now he, what's his face? Philip DeFranco covers this. One second.
There being a mixture of people being pissed off that he gave Tate a platform, as well as like how he handled the interview. Now, that said, for what it's worth, Piers did challenge him about some of his views. Right, one clip you have Piers reading out one of Tate's comments about how a woman shouldn't work because she should always be aiming on pleasing her husband or boyfriend. You see Piers saying,
I don't think you understand quite how that comes over, because I think that is the purest definition of misogyny I probably ever read.
Which honestly, when you have Mr. Lives to mock Meghan Markle calling you misogynistic, maybe you listen. That point aside, some people think that journalists with as big an audience as Piers Morgan shouldn't be giving Andrew Tate airtime. Writing things like, shame on you, Piers Morgan, for interviewing Andrew Tate and giving him yet another platform. It's a slap in the face for survivors, as well as just not interested in anything Andrew Tate has to say. Stop giving him the oxygen of publicity. The only people interested in him are brainless twits, Piers. You can be/do better than this. Some also not too pleased with the way that he handled Tate, thinking that he didn't push back. It's Morgan shit Meghan, her husband or boyfriend, as it appeared off TV. There being a mixture of people being pissed off that he gave Tate a platform, as well as like how he handled the interview. Now, that said, for what it's worth, Piers did challenge him about some of his views. Right, one clip you have Piers reading out one of Tate's comments about how a woman shouldn't work because she should always be aiming on pleasing her husband or boyfriend. You see Piers saying,
I don't think you understand quite how that comes over, because I think that is the purest definition of misogyny I probably ever read.
Which honestly, when you have Mr. Lives to mock Meghan Markle calling you misogynistic, maybe you listen. That point aside, some people think that journalists with as big an audience as Piers Morgan shouldn't be giving Andrew Tate airtime. Writing things like, shame on you, Piers Morgan, for interviewing Andrew Tate and giving him yet another platform. It's a slap in the face for survivors, as well as just not interested in anything Andrew Tate has to say. Stop giving him the oxygen of publicity. The only people interested in him are brainless twits, Piers. You can be/do better than this. Some also not too pleased with the way that he handled Tate, thinking that he didn't push back enough against his shtick, accusing him of letting Tate lie in writing. It's almost like you're complicit in his attempt to whitewash his image. All advertising revenue you made from this episode is dirty money with real victims behind it. Absolutely shameless, Piers. The least you could do is donate all proceeds from this episode to his victims. But with this, Piers has responded to some of the critiques, arguing that Tate has a big platform of his own, and that makes him newsworthy, right? Saying, part one of my interview with Andrew Tate has already been viewed over 3 million times on our YouTube channel in just 15 hours.
And we
Whenever
were
you
one
think
of them.
Interest in him is huge. And also discussing the backlash on Talk TV, saying,
It's an empty question, should you platform him? I mean, I think with these kind of characters, the more light you shine on them, the better, actually. The more you actually hold their feet to the fire a bit.
And for what it's worth, with all this, some people have also praised the interview, right? Thinking that he actually did a good job handling it all. With this story and the situation, I'd love to know, where do you stand on it? Because, it is this situation we see come up time and time again with a number of people. Or whether it be Andrew Tate, or there was that, white supremacist that was making all the podcast rounds. We, of course, months and months back also covered all the backlash CNN got for hosting Donald Trump. Though, of course, that got additional pushback because they essentially gave him home field advantage with an audience that loved him. But yeah, I guess in general, what are your thoughts here? And then we need to talk about the homelessness crisis in America, because as the situations escalate, so do the debates. This is something we actually saw firsthand in Portland, Maine, where the city council voted 6-3 to strike down a proposal.
I zoned out
that
a
would
little
allow
bit the
homeless
last
people
part,
to camp
but
on
okay.
public lands after a long and heated battle. Or specifically, the proposal would have ended the practice of sweeping encampments through the cold winter months until April, and allow those sites to stay on all public property. Prohibitions for certain locations like schools, playgrounds, and major public spaces such as City Hall. Right, that order was supported by lawmakers and advocates who oppose the efforts to clear out homeless camps that Portland has been engaging in for the last year, arguing that it's inhumane, traumatizing, and makes it harder to provide services to homeless folks. But on the other side, you have opponents arguing that encampments in public areas create safety concerns for community members and that the government should be focused on housing people. Though notably, many experts have also pushed back against that last part, saying that encampments actually make it easier for providers to access folks in need of housing because they're all in one place. With all this, the opinions on both sides have been very, very passionate, both supporters and opponents holding protests ahead of the the council meeting on the order yesterday. And after that, tons of people lined up to speak during public comment, which was incredibly heated and chaotic, continuing for hours, with the council members actually not voting until after midnight. And the chaos continued even after the vote, with one person even climbing onto the desk where some council members sat, laying down and refusing to move until she
Holy
was forcibly
shit.
escorted away by police. You know, all in all, Portland is a very interesting flashpoint to look at in this whole
Wait,
crisis. Because
rewind.
during public comment, which was
Rewind,
incredibly
baby.
heated and chaotic, continuing for hours, with the council members actually not voting until after midnight. And the chaos continued even after the vote, with one person even climbing onto the desk where some council members sat, laying down and refusing to move until she was forcibly escorted away by police. You know, all in all, Portland is a very interesting flashpoint to look at in this whole crisis. Because while Maine actually still has one of the nation's lowest rates of homelessness, it has also seen one of the biggest increases in unhoused people over the last decade plus, with homelessness jumping 67% from 2007 to 2022, according to federal data. So while we often see homelessness talked about on the national scale in big states and their cities like LA, New York, and San Francisco, it is really important to also look at how it's impacting smaller places. And so with this, while we wait to see how all of it plays out, I'd love to know your thoughts, especially if you live in Maine or another small state where you're seeing homelessness maybe not necessarily being on the national radar. And then, you know, on this show, we talk a lot about the bad going on in the world. And though to millions of low-income moms and children. Because under the stopgap spending bill that was passed and signed last week, lawmakers failed to include extra funding for the special supplemental nutritional program for women, infants, and children, aka...
I want to see what Rachel Maddow's take is on this.
In 2021, the Nobel Peace Prize was given to 2 journalists. One of them was this man, the editor-in-chief of a newspaper called Novaya
She's
Gazeta.
defo a fucking lib and everything. Like, super classic, like, lib establishment. But she's good at research, and she has good education that trained her to do this. She went to Stanford and Oxford. Yeah, so, you know, she's
Gazeta was
actually
probably the
smart.
most important national newspaper in Russia that was independent and critical of the Kremlin. Since Vladimir Putin's been the leader of Russia, at least 6 journalists from Novaya...
I think it started happening in New York. I think I saw a video earlier, Icon, if I can find it, that they're starting tiny houses too. Oh, you are from Oxford, huh? I haven't been to Oxford, but I've wanted to. I've been to a lot of other places in the UK. Why haven't I gone to Oxford? Have I gone close? It always reminds... It's kind of close to London. Like, kind of like very close to London. Fuck. I didn't know how close it was to London. That's cool. It reminds me of that book, the one about the subtle knife, the one that got banned, The Golden Compass, the whole series. I forget what it's called, but they did a TV series on it, and it's really good. Good cast. Well, they got James McAvoy to play in the series. To play, what's his name? Fuck. They got him to play Lord Asriel. In the movie, Daniel Craig played him. And Nicole Kidman was the perfect Mrs. Coulter. Her performance was stellar. And I still think the movies are better than the show, but it was so vilified at the time, they couldn't get a green light on the second movie and the third movie. And now they're just, Nicole Kidman, I don't know, maybe she could be Mrs. Coulter again. I don't know if they're interested. It's a very controversial book series. No fucking way. No way. Wait, seriously? You have to tell. There's no way. So you studied literature? English lit? Like, what did you study at university? Poem writer. Oxford professor. There's no way. He taught in Oxford like in 88 to 96. So you were in college during that time? Oh, you studied electronics. Well, that explains your room. Oh, he wasn't a university professor. He was a like secondary school teacher? Like, what are you talking about? Well, you don't look old at all. You actually look kind of young.
Murdered under mysterious circumstances, including their star investigative reporter Anna Politkovskaya, who was murdered in her apartment building in 2006 on Vladimir Putin's birthday.
Why X?
Novaya Gazeta's editor, Dmitry Muratov, was one of 2 people who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2021. Shortly thereafter, under threat of having the whole staff of the newspaper arrested, Novaya Gazeta was forced to stop its print edition and move its operations out of the country. Just a few weeks ago, the editor himself, again, the Nobel Peace Prize laureate, was officially declared a foreign agent in Russia. He's not foreign, he's Russian. But declaring him a foreign agent makes it essentially a crime for anybody in Russia to work with him in any way, and it likely means they will be trying to jail him as well. I mentioned that he was one of 2 people that got the Nobel Peace Prize in 2021. The other person, the person he shared it with, is this journalist. Her name is Maria Ressa. Maria Ressa was raised in New Jersey. She went to Princeton. She's brilliant. She was a bureau chief for CNN for a long time. Maria Ressa ended up founding an independent, modern, critical news organization in the Philippines called Rappler. And when
oh my God, that was a Hong Kong. That was... Look. The FCC Hong Kong. But, like, independent media doesn't really exist anymore in Hong Kong. It's such a shame, and it's diabolical. Even the SCMP is no longer truly free.
Called Rappler. And when
South China Morning
the
Post.
Philippines got Rodrigo Duterte as the de facto dictator,
it's like the New York Times of Hong Kong.
The Philippines got Rodrigo Duterte as the de facto dictator of that country the same year that we got Donald Trump. Soon after, Maria Ressa found herself arrested and jailed and charged with multiple crimes. She won that Nobel Peace Prize in 2021, along with the editor from Novaya Gazeta in Russia. And soon after she won the Nobel Peace Prize, the Philippine government ordered Rappler, her news organization, shut down entirely. They are still fighting to keep it going. She is still fighting to stay out of jail. But that is true. Both
the Chinese semi-recently, like, started shutting down and raiding, like, newspapers in Hong Kong that were anti-Beijing.
For her in the Philippines,
it was a huge
and for
deal.
Her fellow Nobel laureate,
like people lined up for like the last editions of printed newsletters from like the free press.
Russia, both of them, facing the same kind of threats. Not because either of them has done anything other than commit journalism, but that's how authoritarian governments treat journalists. That's how authoritarian governments treat the threat of the free press. Literally, even being awarded the Nobel Peace Prize cannot protect you. Yesterday, Argentina elected a new president.
Really?
And
where did the chainsaw guy? He's like their version of Trump, you know? Content entertainment. Yes, I'm technically a British national, still. It's fucking ridiculous. I will never renew my British passport because it still has the Queen on it. And I do not support the current king. I think he's a spoiled brat. The Opium Wars? Not in modern day.
the guy whose followers wear "Make Argentina Great Again" baseball hats. He got a big congratulations from Republican Party leader Donald Trump.
And I think opium was
when he won
a
this
bigger
election
thing
in Argentina
on
yesterday.
the mainland.
He says that as
Not
Argentina's
in
new
Hong Kong?
president, he's going to eliminate that
I might be
country's
wrong.
currency and abolish its central bank. He says of the 18 departments in the federal government, he's going to eliminate 10 of the 18, including
Okay, I
health
don't-
and education. He has said
Health and education. I don't know that much about the Argentinian construction of their government, so I can't comment and speculate that much. But that sounds psychotic.
that he wants a free, totally unregulated market in guns in Argentina, and also a free and totally unregulated
You don't like
market
Harry?
in human
Aw.
organs.
They should have. They
That's it.
should
He
have
also
skipped Charles and just went straight to William. He's way more charismatic, way more likable, way more liked. He would have been a better successor. But Charles has been waiting his whole life to be king, so there's no way.
It's a total ban on abortion, so, freedom. But with a to-do list like that, what are his priorities? What comes first? Well, what did he talk about first after getting elected? He was elected last night. This was his victory speech last night. You can see his signature calm, cool, collected vibe on full display. This is last night, the night he won, and then today, first
He
thing,
is
he
their
told reporters
Trump. Oh
that
my
he's going to move
God.
to dismantle the media outlets in Argentina that gave him critical coverage during the presidential campaign.
Oh my
This is what
God.
they do. This is what they do. This is what they do everywhere.
What is
As soon as
happening?
Jair Bolsonaro got elected in Brazil, this was the headline even before Bolsonaro took office. Brazil's next president declares war on fake news media.
Are they just
That was
trying to copy
2018 when he
Trump?
was first elected. By 2020, he was publicly making a show of threatening to punch a reporter in the face. By 2023, when he was voted out of his office and his supporters tried their own January 6th style storming of the Capitol, his supporters were just physically attacking the press.
Yo,
was
this is
Brazil. In
actually
Poland, it was the
try
largest-
hard. Like, this is try hard January 6th. What? Yeah.
This party there, and the headlines look remarkably familiar. Poland targets TV channel, limits press freedom. Poland's ruling party
Poland?
rams through media law. New Freedom House report, how Poland's government set out to conquer a free press.
Wait,
In
Poland
Hungary,
is doing
it's the
this?
authoritarian Viktor Orban, who of course is a fan favorite of American conservatives and Republican media figures. Under Viktor Orban, headlines in Hungary look like this. Inside Orban.
But isn't Poland part of NATO and one of the requirements that you're like a democracy and shit? But I guess that doesn't mean free speech, huh?
Orban's crackdown on Hungary's free
necessarily.
press. Hungary dismantles media freedom and pluralism. Reporters Without Borders lists Viktor Orban as press freedom predator. This is how they do it. They do it everywhere. It speaks different languages, it has different accents, but it's all the same. In his 2016 campaign and in his one term in office here, former Republican President Donald Trump, of course, made a whole sport out of it, right? Denouncing the American free press as the enemy of the people and all that. Now that he's running for president again, though, he's getting more specific.
Who
Saying he's
did
going to
you-
have,
did you vote?
MSNBC investigated for treason.
Did you vote for Trudeau?
Okay, treason. This weekend, Trump advisor Stephen Miller suggested that criminal charges should be brought against the media watchdog group Media Matters. After Media
Yeah.
Matters pointed out that on Twitter, the social media platform now owned by pro-Trump right-wing billionaire Elon Musk, major mainstream companies were having their ads appear right alongside.
Can we talk about how, like, what a waste and what a shame it is that Elon Musk went down this path? Like, there was like a path for him to become the real life Tony Stark, but instead he became this. Like, what the fuck happened?
alongside overt pro-Nazi, pro-Hitler, anti-Semitic material
Hi,
of the kind
Nolan.
that floods that social media platform now that Mr. Musk has taken it over, and now that he himself has started promoting some of the worst anti-Semitic content and sentiments on the site.
You're illegal in Canada?
Steve
Is
Miller
that even
says people
possible?
should face criminal charges. for pointing
Canada
that
is
out
it's
about
like
what's
a
happening on
still
Twitter.
a British
And you know, it's one thing
part
for
of the British
a
Empire.
presidential candidate's advisor to point at something like that and say, "Hey, your critics in the media should be in jail for criticizing you." But it's quite another when the Republican Attorney General of the state of Missouri then jumps in and volunteers that his
Yeah, part of
office in Missouri
Commonwealth.
is now looking into
Exactly.
the matter, presumably to see if he can use the powers of his office as state
Yeah,
attorney general.
Elon,
to help with
he's
the
getting
jailing your
sued,
enemies
and
program. Now tonight, the
he
Republic.
basically like with X, he like the ads were showing next to tweets that were like anti-Semitic. And so I think Elon Musk liked some anti-Semitic tweet and basically agreed. And then the ad people started pulling out. Like all the big ad people started pulling out.
Republican Attorney General of Texas says he
Yeah,
in
I don't
fact, has
trust-
opened
I
an
don't trust
official
Musk
investigation
either.
of Media Matters, the media watchdog group that is pointing out what advertisers on Twitter are having their ads show up alongside on that now totally unmoderated, mostly unmoderated media. And why does the Attorney General of Texas need to investigate
Nobody
Media
still
Matters
does
for having
follow his
criticized
tweets.
a regular
Only like his
millionaire?
like simps. Is that banned
Because,
on Twitch?
make Argentina great again or something. Put the pacifist
Well,
in
his
jail
fanatics.
for 7 years in a Russian penal colony for the price tags protest. Arrest the editors. Drive their publications out of the country. This is what they do. First, it was Alabama. Surprise Supreme Court win for black voters. Soon it was also Georgia. And then it was Louisiana, too. All states where major court decisions called for the drawing of new congressional maps that would give black voters a chance at fair representation after Republican legislators drew up districts that deliberately locked black voters out of any reasonable chance of electing the legislators of their choice. These were all states where voters and voting rights groups.
Okay, I feel like that this is the Supreme Court's way of like being like, oh, we're sorry about reversing Roe versus Wade, so we're gonna give you these crumbs.
Were able to sue to get fair representation for black voters, and they were able to win. They won surprising, meaningful, consequential victories.
So am I gonna get
for black
clapped
voters,
for this video?
thanks to the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Because I said
The cases appeared to open a path toward undoing racially discriminatory congressional maps of the past, state by state, one by one. Until now, until today. Today, a panel of 3 federal judges, all appointed by Republicans, issued a decision in a case that was brought by the Arkansas chapter of the NAACP. It challenges the fairness of congressional maps there. And these judges in the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, they ruled that private citizens, private entities, private groups can't bring these cases anymore. Can't bring the kind of cases that we have seen succeed in Alabama and Georgia and Louisiana and other states. The judges ruled that
I don't know,
entities,
man.
private entities can't
When I
bring those
first
kinds of
moved to the
cases.
state,
Actually,
when I first moved to the States, Obama was president. Everything was all fine and dandy. And then Trump became president, and then Roe happened, and shit, like, the country went to shit, basically. And then fucking COVID happened. Now there's like a time warp. Like, I feel like I lost 2 years.
Actually, the only entity that can bring those kind of a case, that kind of a case, is the United States
He
Attorney
is very
General.
charming.
And if you can't get the United States Attorney General to bring a case like this on your behalf, then what happens in your state? And what happens to the cases that have been decided already? What happens to other states where voters want to challenge a racially discriminatory gerrymander of the congressional maps?
Yeah.
How long before this case gets to the United States Supreme Court, and what's going to happen when it gets there? The new headline in the New York Times tonight is federal court moves to drastically weaken Voting Rights Act.
Why?
Passed
Why?
in 1965, the Voting Rights Act was one of the most significant achievements of the civil rights movement, undoing decades of discriminatory Jim Crow laws and protecting against egregious racial gerrymanders. But the law has been under legal assault almost since its inception. Today, a federal appeals court moved to drastically weaken it. Should today's ruling stand, it would remove perhaps the most important facet of the Voting Rights Act. The majority of challenges to discriminatory laws have come from private citizens and civil rights groups. Joining us now is Janae Nelson. She's president of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Ms. Nelson, thanks very much for joining us, especially on short notice with this surprise ruling tonight.
Happy to be here, Rachel.
So let me just ask you, I feel like for the last 10
Yeah,
years,
COVID was a
since
bummer,
the Supreme Court ruling
to
in
say the
2013,
least.
that really took a lot of the
I
power
mean,
of the Voting Rights Act away.
changed the world. You know, like I feel like it changed like humanity. Humanity's like collective trauma. Like that was COVID. Like I feel like every 100 years there's a fucking pandemic. Yeah, you know, like basically very client-facing careers, you know, couldn't do anything, you know, about it. I can't imagine.
Talking about this
That
landmark piece of legislation, this sort of moral crucible piece of American legislation, as having been severely weakened. What is important about tonight's ruling as compared to the other attacks on the Voting Rights Act that we've seen from this conservative court?
Well, tonight's ruling upends almost 60 years of precedent in which, as you noted, individuals and civil rights groups have enforced Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act to make sure that our country has a democracy that is free from racial discrimination. It's something that we've never fully achieved, but the Voting Rights Act and Section 2 in particular has done such muscular work to advance us toward this goal. And this is the first decision to say unequivocally that individuals and civil rights groups like the Legal Defense Fund cannot bring lawsuits under this key provision. And it's interesting that you bring up Shelby County versus Holder.
Okay, I can't. I'm zoning out. All right. I feel like streaming has made me realize I have like ADHD or something. ADD.
What's up, guys? I don't know how to start off this video. I'm just gonna start it off. Today is the video that you guys all been waiting for. The video where I talk about jail and what happened. I know you guys have a lot of questions. I'm gonna answer all of them in this video, but first of all, don't say anything about my hair. Hello, friends, it's me.
SS Sniper is one of the biggest creators on the internet.
This video has 100 million views.
So Sniper Wolf is a YouTuber
She's hot.
who reacts to TikToks. I promise it's way cooler than it sounds.
A lot of people have been stating that what she does isn't really reacting to content, it's mainly just stealing it, freebooting it.
She created the narrative that you had cloned her
Yeah.
when it was the other way around. She's profited off the works
What?
of thousands of other creators by reacting to them in the laziest way possible. Don't create, steal. Yo, what's up, everyone? It's your boy, Jojo Jax Films.
Where's the Mona Lisa?
And then
I
she
know, I
doxed
didn't see it
him.
either,
Doxed
Sniper
him.
Wolf, but I just hold on to your horse.
And then
and
YouTube
ride.
did nothing.
It's just a Sniper Wolf. You don't see it yet. It's more than
Well,
blocks.
barely
When I try to get my
anything.
way, I scream, and I scream really loud. You know that high-pitched scream that girls do?
And I'm not just jealous. I'm jaded.
All right, right in front of your house. Come out and talk to me. He has food outside, so he should be out any minute now to pick it up.
Sniper Wolf has now doxed Jax Films.
One of the biggest no-nos I've ever seen on the YouTube platform.
And subscribe to the Wolfpack.
Picture this. You're at home with your friends, loved ones, and fans. It's October, spooky season. The decorations are up and the outside of your house is being lit up by the effervescent glow of the street
Okay,
lights.
so this is Swoop. She kind of does like these like documentaries on like drama, but like I don't know. I just feel like she does really good jobs in like exposing people too. But I felt a little weird. Like I got a weird vibe from her when she kind of like basically misled Jonathan. In the Colleen Ballinger drama, Jonathan, because she was kind of like letting him talk as a victim, but she was really like using the clip to paint him in a terrible light, to do like an exposed video. And I just felt like that was kind of like, I understand why she did it, and the analysis and the evidence, like he definitely was in the wrong, but like the fact that she kind of manipulated him like that, I didn't like that. Like, I felt like that was kind of like, I'm not gonna say it, but it was kind of like shitty behavior, like, but like borderline like psychopathic. Like, that's like maybe like borderline personality disorder level kind of manipulation. But I'm not saying she has that. I don't want to start beef with Swoop because she's gonna do like an expose video on me. But like, it just felt like
and all of the lit
kinda
lanterns, but the only glow
like
you
a
care
shitty
about is the glow of
way
the
to,
screen in front of you, because
I
it's
don't
game
know,
night.
do things,
Your
do
friends
research,
and your fans
you know?
are having the time of your lives, playing a party game, just as you have every now and then for years, and there's not a single concern in the world as you all just vibe and laugh and chat. It's a perfect moment for a perfect shared family, interrupted by the ding of a cell phone alert. That phone alert is from
Okay,
Instagram.
what the fuck is
and it has
this?
a simple message.
Is this an ad?
Barely. But first, oh hi there, hello, hi, it's my face again.
No.
Let's dig in.
Okay, I don't know if I can pay attention to an hour-long fucking documentary right now.
So let's start off by providing as fair and balanced a perspective on this SS
Okay,
Sniper
you guys
Wolf
watch
story as
while
we can.
I do some
I'll try,
research
okay?
on
Opinions
better
will be had
content.
and shared, you were warned. But in order to approach being balanced, we need to try and talk about when SS Sniper Wolf was a little pup named Aaliyah Marie Shalish, or Leah for short, born October 22nd, 1992, which means that I coincidentally started writing this script on her birthday.
Okay, we got
So,
some breaking
happy
news.
birthday, Leah. Oh, belated now. I hope you like this dog. Hey! Okay, sorry.
Yo, you, happy birthday. You're cool.
Even though Leah today lives in America, she was actually born in Liverpool, England, to immigrant parents of Iraqi, Greek, and Turkish heritage. When she was 6, her parents moved the whole family out to Phoenix, Arizona. Now, life growing up for Leah.
But we begin our report with Israel's cabinet voting to approve a deal with Hamas to release some of the hostages taken during the October 7th attack. At least 50 hostages
No, I have
will
not
be released.
watched streamer
Those released
TV
on
on
both
YouTube.
sides will be mostly women and children. CBS News senior
What
foreign
is that?
correspondent Ollie Williams brings us the latest, and a warning for you here. Some of what you're about to see is distressing.
The proposed deal was brokered by the US and Qatar. Hamas would be incentivized to release more than 50 hostages, with 3 Palestinian prisoners, mainly women and children, freed for every hostage who's returned to Israel. There would be a 6-hour daily pause in fighting for 4 days, which could be extended, during which Israel's aerial surveillance would be halted.
I've never even held a gun.
300 trucks each day would carry aid, including cooking oil and fuel for hospitals, into the Gaza Strip. But tonight, Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, vowed this won't be the end of the war, saying his country will continue fighting until it's eliminated Hamas. Israel says there are 236 hostages. Only 4
He's a
have been
tyrant.
released until now, while Israel's military has retrieved the bodies of 2 others from Gaza and rescued 1 soldier who'd been taken captive. It's an agonizing wait for the families of the hostages. Some of them gathered here, along with their supporters in central Tel Aviv. In a rare interview this past weekend, a senior Hamas leader, Musa Abu Marzouk, claims some of the hostages are being held by other Palestinian militants and some by Palestinian families.
So you don't know exactly how many civilian hostages there are, and you don't know where all of them are?
We don't know, because in the ground, nobody can move, nobody can make a list, nobody can search about this. It's a war.
Abu Marzouk, who's designated a terrorist by the US government, also
So was
claims
Nelson
that around
Mandela.
60 of the hostages have been killed in Israeli airstrikes. We cannot independently confirm that. But the chaos and devastation in Gaza are plain to see. Today,
Maybe I have
CBS
heard of
News
Streamer
producer
TV.
Marwan Al-Ghul sent us this report from Nusayrat refugee camp. Palestinian media say it was hit late at night by an Israeli bombardment.
At least 20 were killed in this place. Women still here. Women body under this place also. Children.
There's new hope here tonight in Israel
Man, children
and also
hits
in Gaza.
different.
But the hostages aren't out yet.
Holly Williams joins me now from Tel Aviv in Israel. Holly, great to see you. Discuss how this will actually work. What are the logistics behind getting hostages out and freeing prisoners in Israel?
Well, Errol, based on what Hamas told us, that is that they don't know where all of the hostages are, they don't know exactly who's holding them, and they have to go and track them down. Clearly, Hamas needs time to go and find the hostages and collect them before
So
they
you're
can
the mod
hand them over to
of
the Red Crescent.
the
In the case of two of the
person
hostages who were
created
previously
Streamer
released,
TV?
they actually crossed out of the Gaza Strip and into Egypt through the Rafah crossing. Now, we assume in this case that won't happen because, of course, Israel's military is already inside the Gaza Strip. We guess that the handover would potentially happen actually inside the Gaza Strip. We also assume that Israel's government will be extremely keen to debrief any hostages that make it out, wanting to know exactly where they've been, who they've been with, and what they've seen.
Just remarkable. Now, Qatar is a major part of helping this deal through since Hamas is speaking with that nation. That Gulf nation has an office there. Talk to us about why Hamas, a group labeled as terrorists by the US and Israel, is able to operate in Qatar.
Well, you've sort of hit the nail on the head there, Errol. It's a very interesting situation. So
What do
Hamas
you want?
has a political office in Qatar. It uses that office for sort of communications and for negotiations, and that's exactly what we're seeing in this case. It's a strange situation because
Was that
Qatar
blunt?
hosts Hamas, which is designated a terrorist organization by the US. On the other hand, Qatar is a very close ally of the US, and the country actually hosts a massive US military base. So I think this situation really speaks to the crucial diplomatic role that Qatar, a tiny, wealthy, oil-rich and extremely influential nation, has come to play in recent years.
All right, we appreciate you breaking that down for us. Holly Williams in Tel Aviv. CBS News Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent and Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan joins us now from our Washington Bureau. Margaret, great to see you. This is a significant moment. An incredible amount of work goes into making a deal like this even possible. How exactly did we get here?
This was a very intense and painful 7 weeks of diplomacy
35
led by
minutes.
the United
Okay.
States and Qatar, a very small group of negotiators.
really breaking.
And it really came together over this past weekend, a 6-page agreement passed back and forth with Egyptian intelligence and Qatari government helping as the conduit
Do you
to
wanna
the
be a
Hamas
mod?
fighters inside of Gaza. We should note that Hamas signed off on this deal this morning. Israel still has not. But what we know is that in late October, the CIA director Bill Burns started talking to the Mossad chief David Barnea. That
Oh, look at
happened
that
after
baby.
you saw that initial release of 2 Americans followed by 2 Israelis. The fact that the U.S. saw evidence that it could use Qatar as a conduit to Hamas and it could deliver on its diplomacy was proof of concept. We reported that at the time. So it is that same model, those same channels that have been used throughout. We've had fits and starts. There were potential breakthroughs at the end of October, a deal that was on the table that in the end was sidelined. And then Israel went ahead with its full-scale incursion into Gaza. Then you also had a possible deal coming together that was sidelined within the past week and a half by the Israeli siege on Al-Shifa Hospital. At that point, Hamas went dark for a few days. And it took some intense diplomacy from the very top, the Emir of Qatar and the President of the United States getting on the phone and really pressing for a few things, including one of Israel's demands throughout, which was proof of life and an actual list of hostages held by Hamas or other militant groups, including Islamic Jihad. So I emphasize that because we are looking at this as two-phase deal. 50 confirmed hostages, confirmed to be alive, would be part of the first phase. It would play out over 4 days, 6-hour pauses in fighting. Aid goes in. Israel has to hold up that end of the bargain. They also have to release Palestinian prisoners from detention centers, a ratio of 3 to 1. 3 Palestinians for every 1 hostage handed over by Hamas. Those would be women. Those would be children. And if this...
Wait, so how do we know who's going to broker this deal? Qatar? Like, how are they making sure shit's happening? Like, both sides are keeping their, whatchamacallit, keeping their word.
Over those 4 days, then you hit phase 2, and that's when we would see more hostages released. There are an estimated 24, possibly more, that Hamas thinks it can get a hold of. As you heard from Holly Williams, Hamas insists that it doesn't have custody of all the hostages. They are scattered in Gaza.
That's why much of this is so eye-opening, the phased rollout, the timing. But I do think anyone that looks at this will wonder as well about the ratio. I mean, everything you've just discussed points to a certain necessity for creativity when it comes to the diplomats trying to figure out this puzzle. But why, in your view, is there a 3-prisoner swap in Israel for every hostage held by Hamas?
It has been a demand from the very earliest of days by Hamas that they see Palestinian prisoners released from Israeli
I missed that.
By Hamas. 3 prisoner swap in Israel for every hostage held by Hamas.
It has been a demand from the very earliest of days by Hamas that they see Palestinian prisoners released from Israeli detention centers and Israeli prisons. And that
so basically they're saying that 3 Palestinian lives equals 1 Israeli life. Like, that's insane.
Non-starter. But now we've ended up with Israel, at least their war cabinet and their intelligence agencies agreeing. Their full government hasn't yet. They're still debating it. But they would have to release women and children. Now, why are Palestinian women and children being held in Israeli detention centers or in Israeli prisons? Well, there is an Israeli military presence and occupation of the West Bank. That's the international community phrase. It is considered occupied territory. Israeli intelligence working with Palestinian Authority governing body in West Bank does arrest people.
But I think that a lot of the people in the Israeli government don't see that the Palestinians are kind of like human beings. Like, they speak of them as animals, you know, like that's, and animals are still important too. Like I heard about like this case where this guy kills, was it the Murdoch family? That he kills his family and then he kills the dog too. Like, come on. That's like an extra layer of like, why the fuck would you do that?
Those detentions, according to the United Nations tally, are hundreds of people. Some of them children. These are often Palestinian minors, or they are Palestinian minors who have moved into Israel proper from the Palestinian territories in an illegal way, without permission to move. They need permission to move into Israel. So there's a variety of reasons people end up in these detention centers. They don't have to be hardened terrorists. That's something the Israeli president said on Face the Nation. These are not necessarily terrorists. But the ratio of 3 to 1, that was where they ended up. Errol, I can't tell you that, but in the view of the Israeli government, they have argued in the past saving 1 Israeli life is worth thousands of Palestinians. They use that to justify a trade many years ago.
That's fucking insane. That is fucking insane. That is so racist. Like, imagine if it was like 1 white Caucasian life is worth 3 black lives. Like, can you imagine if it was like that? Like, that's insane. That's insanity. I can't. That bothers me so much. Oh my God. What the Pentagon say now? We're going to war yet? Pentagon releases details of U.S. retaliatory strike on Iran-backed militants in the Middle East. It's only a matter of fucking time where a bunch of U.S. soldiers die who are stationed there currently, and we have to retaliate.
As they are still being evaluated.
Ugh.
With that, I'm happy to take some questions. Tara, do you want to start us off?
Yes, thank you. So we'll start with so this retaliatory strike seems to be the first since these hostilities began where there were people as targets instead of infrastructure or a weapons storage facility. Can you provide any details about why these specific militants were targeted?
So I wouldn't say that I was, well, let me take a step back. The militants were targeted because the AC-130 was able to determine the point of origin from where the close-range ballistic missile was being fired upon, or fired to the base. So they were able to take action because they saw the militants. They were able to keep an eye on the movement of these militants as they moved into their vehicles, and that's why they were able to respond. I wouldn't say this is the first time we have responded. Again, we don't read out every single time that how a certain system or capability takes down a drone or rocket attack. We have had other cases where we have responded in retaliation when we were able to identify the point of origin. So it's not our first time, but it is just something that has been, of course, publicly reported, and so wanted to make sure that all the facts were out there.
Okay, just to pull on that,
Sure.
I have one other topic. So it's not the first time that you've responded, but I think the building's been, you've announced basically all these other strikes, and you've said it's
I
been
cannot
a storage
believe
facility
you
or
are
training
trolling me
facility,
right
and
now.
If people have been killed, it has been kind of because of the strike, not because they were being targeted specifically. So you're not saying that like these specific militants were targeted? Do you have any idea who these militants were?
We know that these are Iranian-backed militia members, but again, just to differentiate, we have taken 3 strikes in self-defense,
Way.
but those were pre-planned. So it's just a little different here in terms of the nuance of how we're talking about this self-defense strike that we took. What was it? Early morning, I think, our time, Eastern time. We were able to identify the point of origin of these attacks because an AC-130 was up already in the area and therefore was able to respond. We do, of course, read out any retaliatory action or self-defense strikes that we take, but just want to sort of put these into separate buckets as we talk about them.
There's been a retaliatory strike.
Yes, but again, it wasn't planned. So there was an AC-130 up in the air that was able to identify the point of origin and was able to respond.
Just a separate topic, as these negotiations for hostage release continue, part of what has been negotiated is that there might be
I play
a
games.
pullback of any surveillance. Does this include U.S. surveillance systems with the U.S. pullback its drones?
Yeah, I think
I
you
haven't
saw
had
the
a
president
guest
speak
yet.
to this earlier today that
My sister's
while we
come
are
to visit me.
certainly,
From London, actually. She's visiting me in January for my birthday, so I think I'm gonna have her on stream. She's pretty hot. Gotta say that.
heartened by the way the conversations are going. There's still not a deal reached until there is one. I'm just not going to get ahead of anything that we will or won't do when it comes to ISR or anything that we are doing when it comes to hostage recovery. We're assisting with that from the embassy, of course, but I just don't have more details and definitely don't want to get ahead of any deal that
Oh my god.
But whether or not it's part of it,
Like
is that one of the
proper Cadbury chocolate. Yeah. I'm gonna actually, that's a good idea. I'm going to ask her to bring a bunch of British snacks and chocolate. It's gonna be so good. That's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? I'm totally gonna do that. Okay, so I don't know if I should play Slay the Princess or a Suika game. I don't know what I should do.
Was declared in no
I'm trying
uncertain
to
terms
think.
by Defense Minister Yoav Gallant.
Those who want to save.
It's crazy to think, like, there are journalists that I've been following since the beginning.
Yeah, the
or
cream eggs.
Or even before that.
Yeah, I don't know
before
why it
October
tastes
7th,
different
that are just
in,
now
in
dead.
the
I'm
Americas, the
seeing
chocolate.
them. I listened to their voices. I saw them communicate about what's going on the ground. And then
What's your
weeks later,
favorite
you just see
food?
them dead.
I don't
Like,
think
being
I've
carried
had
out on a stretcher
Thornton's.
with the press vest that they used to wear put on top of their lifeless body. And it's fucking insane. Yeah, killed alongside their families, by the way.
Or maybe I have.
Israel has round-the-clock surveillance. They know the targets that they're striking. Israel knows where these people live. They have the capacity to
Okay,
call
I
them.
don't think so.
Their life, please go south.
And by IDF leaflets and cell phone audio messages.
They're telling people to go
presence north
south,
of Wadi-
but now they're saying, oh, Hamas fled the big hospital in the north and they went to the south. So now people in the south have to like split up and flee. And it's like, where are they going to go? The north is a disaster, is destroyed. And now they're splitting the south into an even two smaller pieces.
Gaza puts your life in
can't.
danger. Whoever chooses not to leave North Gaza to the south of Wadi Gaza might be identified as an...
You're in just as much danger as them being an on-the-ground reporter yourself. I love that we're slowly but surely...
You don't like Hassan?
Uncovering steps of genocide. And
A different bunny milk? That's funny. No, I fucking disagree. He is so much better than Andrew Tate. I don't agree with all of his takes, but Andrew Tate is, come on. Come on.
psychopathic edgelords with no will to live other than just like to carry on the tradition of trying to make everyone as miserable as themselves because their family doesn't invite them to Thanksgiving dinners and acts like they literally do not exist or that they have died, come in here to try and fucking repeat idiotic things that I never even fucking said or meant. Everybody knows that I've never actually left and done on the ground reporting in fucking Palestine. But, you know, your goal in here is to just say stupid shit like this because if you don't get this message out and try to...
Should I play Outlast?
...that you can change a person's life...
I'm gonna
for a
freak
brief
myself
moment,
out.
and, like,
I don't know if I can
recognize that
do
you're
it.
alive, you know what I mean? You might actually end it all. So I will provide
I don't
that
know if I'm
service for
vibing
you
with Slave the
for a
Princess
brief
tonight,
moment,
though.
okay?
You know?
It makes me happy to know that you will continue living and won't off yourself because absolutely zero people like you, and that you will continue this fucking train of just compounding on the hatred in your sad, miserable life. You can type in ha-ha-ha's in all caps, but we both know deep down inside you're crying because your soul is broken, okay? It's broken.
What does Tate do that
You can fix
Hassan
it.
wouldn't
You can
do?
fix it. And I hope you will, okay? I hope you will. But it does
Like, do you
start-
not?
It does
Do
start
you disagree with Hassan more
leaving the
or Andrew
communities
Tate
that you
more?
are in that are slowly but surely sucking you into this rabbit hole of despair. No, I'm not mad.
That's a very
disappointed.
important question,
Please
by
don't
the way.
ban me. No, I won't. Don't worry. Don't worry, little one. I will not ban you. I don't want you to off yourself, okay? I want you to change your
Okay,
life.
good.
I want you to be happy. Doing stuff like this, not gonna help. It only makes your life worse. You might think that you are in a community that understands where you're coming from. You might think that you're in a community that understands where you're coming from, that gives you a sense of purpose. You know, this guy that you've never met before, that you have been conditioned into fucking hating, is mad in this moment, in this very moment. Like, he got really mad, I got to him. You didn't. I've heard this uncreative sentiment expressed 1,000 times over. I want you to be better, okay? I know I gave you exactly what you wanted. What you wanted wasn't a clip. What you wanted was someone to recognize you.
Could you give me
'Cause it
an
does feel
example?
like you have no
Like,
friends.
so do you think that Hassan
Especially
is
when,
not
you
a
know, you
good
feel like the
faith
walls are caving in.
like
You're just like sitting there alone in
actor?
your dark
Like
room.
Like
hoping
he
for someone to reach
exaggerates
out.
his
So I'm
leftist
telling you,
views.
okay, I'm telling you.
Is that what you're
yes,
saying?
Senpai noticed you.
Senpai.
Now, I'm telling you what to do. Quit the shit.
Quit
Stop
the
going
shit.
To the fucking same drama farming, lolcow Discord servers. Stop engaging with the same fucking subreddits, because that is only going to make you worse. One day you will recognize that you have a deep addiction. Okay? The quicker you snap out of it and try to make something better of your life, the faster you will be happy, and you won't turn into a fucking 47-year-old kissless virgin. Okay? I'm just cut the Celtics loss to the Hornets. All right.
Accomplice in a terrorist organization. And the destruction of homes and property ensured that there's nowhere for them to go back to. According to the UN, as of November 8th, at least 45% of homes in Gaza, not North Gaza, but all of Gaza, are either damaged or completely destroyed. In the trial judgment for Mladen Mladic and Vinko Martinovic, the Criminal Tribunal for Yugoslavia interpreted that the deliberate destruction of homes was indicative of
What?
intent.
Wait, which one is this? You have to link me. Well, you seem nice enough.
To forcibly displace civilians. When a genuine evacuation takes place, there is an obligation to bring the population back when the hostilities have ended. No attempts to return them were made. In fact, most of their houses were torched. With regard to bringing the...
Hassan is such a window warrior, self-proclaimed propagandist loser, fake socialist too. Smokey the Dab, I'm sorry that the words that I actually fucking said to the other guy hurt you so fucking deeply to your core that you had to respond in this way. But everything I said, and I think you know that as well, could be said specifically for you too. Okay? Gold is the same. Snap out of it. Go to the gym. Start a new life. I promise.
Go to the gym. I did go to the gym this morning though. So I did that.
Promise, okay? I know I said something and it had an AoE impact on every fucking loser incel in a 7,000 mile vicinity, okay? I know.
The population back, in the words of Israeli Minister of Foreign Affairs Eli Cohen.
I feel like
at the end of the...
At what point do you, like, as a streamer, going from a small streamer to a large streamer, at what point can you just have so many people in chat and in your community that you can't really, like, connect? Like, what's the line, you know?
This war, not only will Hamas no longer be in Gaza, but the territory of Gaza will also decrease. Indeed, Francesca Albanese, Special Rapporteur for Human Rights in the Occupied Territories, warned that Palestinian...
Oh, really?
Rent-free loser. I've never seen him say the truth once.
How do
in
I
his
do
life.
that? How do I turn off
Brother,
links?
You've been in here since
But then if I turn it off,
2022. You've been
how
in
can
here
you
since
send me links?
2022.
I don't get it.
Fucking say, like, posting, I love Jordan Peterson. How are you gonna say rent-free, dog? And you like Ludwig?
Fuck.
What? He said Vivek is my president. He said hands down the dumbest community. I went to high school with Smokey the Dab. He had his mom buy his Christmas phones for her birthday.
Wait. Holy shit. Is the Willie Mac show that... Oh my god, it's that dude who called in. Thanks for following, Alexa Crazy. That's a pretty interesting name. Wait. Hold the fuck up. You agree with Willie Mac? I mean, I do think Hassan is stubborn sometimes. But Willie... I don't know. I don't know. Like, when they had that call, like, I feel like...
Made fun of him so bad he had to be
Did you see the entire like clip? Like when he had it was a debate. Did you see the entire debate yourself? Okay, good. Oh, so you're saying Hassan wasn't efficacious during his debate with Willie Mack. Like, he didn't really make like an impact or a point or what have you, because that was kind of what I felt like happened. It was like Hassan doesn't debate people, so I feel like he kind of did it for a little bit of like the lulz, and also kind of did it for like the views, because he's always said that like people who debate, like, you don't change your mind, blah 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 blah. I mean, I kind of disagree. I like, depends on how heated the debate is. I don't mind debating people.
Spread it around. God damn, son. Live your life, dude. Live your life. Someone you should look up to. JP is the best. Yeah, I come in here to hate watch and make fun of you with my friends. Brother, you have no friends. That is the most...
Are you hate watching me? Whatever, fool. Or fool.
Most friendless activity of all time. You think you have friends. Simply, what you're doing is talking to a fucking IT guy who's 48 years old, eating hot Cheetos by himself in a dark room just like you.
I want Cheetos.
Okay, you think he's your friend because he has the same interest in like coming in here and being like, we really own this guy, right? But like, you got no friends, homie. You got people on Discord with similar interests. What I'm trying to fucking tell you is you can snap out of it and no longer have the Cheeto crust all over your fucking keyboard, okay?
Why is Hassan shitting on Cheetos? I love Cheetos. Why is he shitting on Cheetos so much? That's so sad. Oh my god, what?
World, you can move away from this reality. You can make something for
I've
yourself.
never seen that
emote. I want
I've
you to
never
be
seen
happy.
somebody use that emote
The healthier you are, the less you'll come in here and fucking annoy me, alright? Meanwhile, while you're here, you're watching the top of the hour ad break. Or at least getting gifted a sub by someone so you can avoid it, but others can't. So my hate watchers still end up helping my finances, getting my money up. Hate watch is actually a thing? Oh, it absolutely is.
How do you not know hate watching is the thing?
Not necessarily to go this far. I mean, it's not. It's not that far. It's serious. This is serious stuff. You can be like, no, it's me and all my best friends, dude. Again, making up shit.
Smokey the dab. Okay.
Fake. I'd love for you to say one
People's
truth
like
that would make my
handles
day.
are
Joke's on you,
unhinged
I use
sometimes.
Adblock. How are you gonna get mad at me for literally fucking misunderstanding? How? That's crazy. This is such a weird fucking phenomena that only happens on on Twitch.
For sure.
Or, well, I guess it happens on Twitter too, but it happens in real time on Twitch, where it's like, sorry, I misunderstand you, and actually, unironically, that's your fault. What do you mean?
I just
You
feel like
said
Hassan
leave
was
this
being a
world. I know
bit
you meant the world
stubborn
of
during
toxic
that
shit, but shadows
debate.
can't infer shit. No, that's not
And
what
he
I mean
wouldn't
at all.
let-
I'm talking
he
literally
wouldn't
about
let
leaving the world of like hatred.
Willie
You understand what I'm
talk.
saying? I'm not clicking on that link. All it took was for me to read one unhinged chatter, and every single one that also wants the attention immediately fucking goes, no, me. You're talking about me when you say like weird incel pervert. I'm the guy. There are plenty of reformed hate watchers in this community. Plenty of people who came in here thinking like, oh, I'll get him this time, right? I'll fucking own him. I'll own him real good. A lot of those people change their minds. All it takes is a moment of charitability. All it takes is a moment of charitability. So many baseless claims. I used to be a Hassan fan, and there's plenty of people who do this too.
I
Plenty of people
think
who
he
go, "I
does
used to
troll
be a Hassan fan."
sometimes.
Following since 2013.
And his jokes, you know. Like, some people take them
Is this like a
seriously.
normal thing for a large streamer? Or do you have an oversized target on your back because your left is?
Yeah.
Bit of column A, bit of column B. Most streamers don't actually talk to their chat or interact with their chat this aggressively. I always do. So there's a lot of people who are like desperate for that. Yeah, bro. He's like, listen, dog. November 19th, yesterday, I was a fan. Today, things are very different. But anyway, I have 3 main reasons why people hate watch you. Let's hear it. How come you never bring up the positive comments like this? Because you guys all fucking yell at positive commenters. 1, you won't play Spider-Man 2. Fuck, you got me. He's true. Bitch. Anyway, there's certainly a lot
I
of
want to
people
play
who are
Spider-Man 2, but I'm on a Mac, so I can't play it. It looks so good. The fight sequences, they look so good.
On the I used to be a Hassan fan train as well.
I want to play so many games, like 12 minutes, things like that, like, but I can't because it's only like like for like Windows. So all you can do is like watch a gameplay and react
I had a
to
much
it.
larger audience in different points in time when a lot of people would come in here and watch, especially during COVID, and were like kind of finding out what their perspective was, like what their political worldview looks like, right? They come in here, then they maybe hear something that they don't agree with, where they're like, oh, well, I don't think this corresponds to my worldview, whether it's like something I've said, like
How decked out is your computer? Because my Mac is pretty decked out. So
the fact that
it's got to be an
Walgreens
even trade.
CEOs are most likely lying about fucking mass retail theft being a major issue. Now, I've been vindicated on that, but it doesn't matter, because if you were already, if you already had made up your mind about theft, and you were like, oh, this guy personally thinks theft is fucking hog, right? You just go, all right, well, let me seek out if there's other people out there who are saying the opposite. And then they see people, there's plenty of content creators out there who will mislead you, you know what I mean? And they just go and they go, all right, well, this guy says fuck Hassan, and I kind of don't agree with Hassan. Maybe he's right. I wasn't a hate watcher, but speculative, and I have to say, please stick around. Hassan is very well read, informative, and funny. I was a shell of the person I was in high school, and Hassan helped me rediscover my curious side and helped me inform myself. If you hate him, at least give him a chance, and also check out the great learning resources he references. Aw, thank you. Yeah, I talk about so many divisive topics. It could be on anything: theft, gambling, sex workers, making fun of hogs, socialism, Bitcoin,
I do miss
NFT.
that.
There
All
were
of his coverage
moments
recently
over
is
the course
just
of
about the
many
war.
years where you could have picked up one issue
I do
that you
miss his
thought was
other
very important to you,
streams.
that you didn't agree with me on, and it shattered your world, and it made you very angry, and it caused you to not be charitable. And there's plenty of, God knows, there's plenty of content out there who will fucking owe me. Oh, trans topics is another very divisive one, you know? Is another very divisive one. And you're a pretty standard streamer, to be fair. I think so. Ukraine, American foreign policy, that's a big one for a lot of progressives who can't shatter their worldview on that front. Impossible for them to do so. First, I started watching as a baby socialist left because I wanted to hear more black leftists, but eventually came back because his analysis still holds up after all this time. Yeah. Viewership is down, though, to be fair. No, everyone's viewership is down for sure, but mine is certainly more down than it's supposed to be at this time. I'm aware of it. I mean, but my favorite times on stream are when I'm on the weekends, when viewership is more down across the board than any other normal day of streaming. And it's my favorite time to stream because I have no like legitimate expectations. You know what I mean? I don't have any like weight. I don't have to.
That's
I don't
fair.
have to carry around like a major burden. My friends
I can see that being like tough and having feeling that way.
Okay. Cuban G slur. What the fuck? It means worm, dog. It's like a political fucking take.
I'm not
It
a big
means
fan of Kick.
counter-revolutionary. What makes it G slur?
Are you on
It's saying
Kick?
C slur. That is always funny when you got the N-word manifesto guy talking about slurs and how inappropriate it is, while simultaneously advocating for the right to be able to say the N-word as a white guy. Yeah.
Palestinians are in grave danger of mass ethnic cleansing. The situation in the occupied Palestinian territory and Israel has reached fever pitch. Just days later, she and several other special rapporteurs, including the Special Rapporteur on Human Rights of Displaced Persons, warned a risk of genocide against the Palestinian people. At the end of October, a worrying so-called concept paper
Dude,
has
Aiden Ross
circulated
is
around
like-
social media, reportedly from the Israeli Ministry
He got
of
corrupted
Intelligence,
by Andrew
detailing a
Tate.
plan to expel all of Gaza's population.
It's like the whole Elon thing again. Like he could have gone down one path, but he went down the wrong one, you know?
The plan called for establishing tent cities in Egypt, creating a humanitarian corridor, then building cities in the northern Sinai to house the refugees for the long term, with a security zone to prevent Palestinians from returning to Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office played down the report compiled by the Intelligence Ministry as a hypothetical exercise. But, according to the New York Times, Israel has quietly tried to build international support in recent weeks for the transfer of several 100,000 civilians from Gaza to Egypt for the duration of its war in the territory, according to 6 senior foreign diplomats. Israeli leaders and diplomats have privately proposed the idea to several foreign governments, framing it as a humanitarian initiative that would allow
because he's
civilians
banned.
to
If you
temporarily
connect
escape
with
the perils
Aiden
of
on
Gaza
Twitch,
for refugee camps in the
you
Sinai
get banned
Desert,
too.
just across the border in neighboring Egypt.
Maybe
Just
not
one small
permanently, but
problem, as described by the Criminal Tribunal for Yugoslavia in the appeal judgment for Milomir Stakic. Although displacement for humanitarian reasons is justifiable in certain situations, the appeals chamber agrees with the prosecution that it is not justifiable where the humanitarian crisis that caused the
I
displacement
don't know. That seems
is
like
itself
forever
the result
ago
of the
when Aiden was
accused's
banned.
own unlawful activity. With regard to Bosnian Muslims, the displacement was involuntary, and that, to the extent it had a humanitarian purpose, this was only because of a humanitarian crisis that the appellant himself had deliberately caused.
Oh shit, dude, it doesn't work that way. You can't just fucking. You can't simply.
I think
say,
Hassan
like, oh, well,
had a
because of
soft
humanitarian
spot for
crisis,
Aiden and
now
wanted to
people are
save him,
leaving through the
but it
humanitarian
just
corridor.
didn't
Oh,
work.
that's called forcible displacement. Damn.
Finally, we have the reduction of essential medical services below minimum requirement. Well, Human Rights Watch on November 14th called for Israel to be investigated for war crimes. The Israeli military's repeated, apparently unlawful attacks on medical facilities, personnel, and transport are further destroying Gaza's healthcare system and should be investigated as war crimes. Hospitals have run out of medicine and basic equipment, and doctors told Human Rights Watch that they were forced to operate without anesthesia and to use vinegar as an antiseptic. Indeed, a doctor at Al-Aqsa Hospital told Human Rights Watch there is a huge shortage of medicines. No electricity, no diesel, no solar, no water to drink or to use. Human Rights Watch reminds us that the International
I don't think
Criminal Court's
Hassan would
Rome
ever get a
statute
kick.
prohibits as a war crime intentionally directing attacks against medical units and transport. In a staggering example, the International Eye Hospital in Gaza City was hit 2 different times on 2 different days by what Human Rights Watch described as a large
What are you
airdropped
doing this
munition.
week?
The hospital posted on Facebook that the International Eye Hospital no longer exists. It has been completely destroyed. The
Are you
Turkish
gonna be around
Palestinian
Friday?
Friendship Hospital, which housed the only specialized cancer treatment center in all of Gaza, was hit 2 nights in a row. The hospital shut down on November 1st because of the airstrikes and lack of fuel. Indeed, the WHO has reported on November 12th that
Yeah.
premature and newborn babies on
I mean,
life
Hassan
support are
is
reportedly dying
basically
due to
one of the
power,
biggest
oxygen,
streamers
and
on
water
Twitch.
cuts at Al-Shifa Hospital. For those of you that don't know, Al-Shifa
Holy
is the
shit.
largest hospital in all of the Gaza Strip. Staff across a number of hospitals are reporting lack of fuel, water, and basic medical supplies, putting the lives of all patients at immediate risk.
They're doing surgeries on patients, like, without anesthesia. Like, that's insane. You can die of shock.
More than half of the hospitals in the Gaza Strip are closed.
Oh, you stream
Those
every
still
day?
functioning are under massive strain and can only provide
Well, I hope
very
you see.
limited
I hope I see
emergency
you
services,
Friday
life-saving
night.
surgery, and intensive
I'm
care
not
services.
doing my usual
The WHO
streams
had also warned on November 8th that the
on
current disease
Thursday,
trends
and
are
I'm
very
not streaming
concerning.
during the day on Friday.
They report
But
that
Friday
before
evening I will
October
be,
7th,
because
reports
it's
of diarrhea were
Thanksgiving.
steady at 2,000 cases a month. Now,
Dude,
since
no
mid-October
one, no
2023,
aid can
over
get into Gaza right now.
33,000 cases of diarrhea have been reported. Over half of these are among children under age 5.
Oh,
For people that,
you
like,
can die
think
from
that it's a
dysentery when
funny,
you're so
haha
young.
diarrhea or whatever, in this situation,
That's so
it's
sad.
It's not diarrhea because you had a bunch of tacos and you have access to water. If you don't have access to clean drinking water, it kills you through dehydration.
There's also scabies and lice, chickenpox, skin rash, and upper respiratory infections. Lack of medicine.
No one in the chat even made that joke. I'm just saying, like, you know, there are people who think, oh, diarrhea, like.
They're not letting anybody
For treating
in. Not even the
communicable
U.S.,
diseases
which
further increase the
bankrolls
risk of accelerated
all of this
disease
bullshit.
spread. You see, it's simple. Just a simple gander at the bare
Can't believe our
facts
tax
lays out
dollars
in
are like
clear terms the situation.
going to bomb children
When
in
compared
Gaza.
to the standards upheld time
Like,
and time
that's
again in the criminal
crazy.
tribunals which convicted others of crimes against humanity and genocide, it begs the question, why doesn't the International Criminal Court issue arrest warrants for Yoav Gallant and Netanyahu and Israel Katz and others? It's not complicated, it's genocide. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching, and if you found this video helpful, here's how you can help. If you're watching on Twitter, give me a follow at GDF on
Yeah.
X. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to
Yep.
GDF.
Because
please become a patron. Just
because
look up
Israel
PDF or
is
go to
supposedly our
patreon.com/PDF
ally and
official.
Russia is our
There
foe.
you can join my Discord and follow news with all of us in real time. There's also several exclusive videos there. I also accept donations. But most importantly of all, share this video, like this video, and follow or subscribe whether you're on Twitter or on YouTube.
Okay, I think I'm gonna play a Suika
PDF,
game
criminally
and then maybe
underrated
sign off.
Channel. Anyway, well, I guess that's it for today, folks.
Okay. Let's play some music though. Oh shit. Okay. Some victims. Well, it was nice to meet you. Hope we see you Friday. Oh shit. Fuck, I fucked up. Fuck. Okay, no, I didn't. That turned out better than I thought it would. My goal is to get 2 watermelons. I've gotten 1 watermelon before, but I've never gotten 2. It's extremely hard. Like Ludwig, his high score is like in the 3,000s. Mine's in like the mid 2,000s, like 2,500-ish. Hi, Shark. I knew you were lurking. I was hoping that like you would step in if you thought something was sus. You're my first, so I trust that. Are you gonna be around Friday? I won't be doing a day stream though. And Thursday I'm not streaming. I don't stream Wednesday anyway, but Thursday's Thanksgiving, and I'm like doing family shit. I wonder if any of these big streamers will be streaming on Thanksgiving, or are they taking off? I bet Hassan will be hosting Thanksgiving at his place, like last Thanksgiving, where they had a Janksgiving, who is now running for fucking president. Hassan's uncle is running for the president of the United States. Like, that's insane. Like, what I would give to be a fly on the wall during their Thanksgiving dinners. I hope Hassan streams and has another debate with his uncle, basically, who is a presidential candidate. It's fucking wild to say. They have pretty funny Jinxgivings, but because of the war, I don't know if the conversation's gonna be as fun. Hi, Royal Guard. What were they saying? Because I was like confused. I was like, I don't know, I was confused. Oh no, I hope everyone's okay. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, I fucked up. Oh my god. I hope everyone's okay. Maybe there'll be a surprise Thursday night stream. I don't know. If I don't get too drunk. Remember that one drunk stream that I did last weekend, was it? Maybe I'll do another one for Thanksgiving. That'll be fun. I feel like the longer I stream, the more I miss it. You know? Because you never know who you're gonna meet. It's kind of like New York City. It's like an adventure every time. You don't know who you're gonna meet. You can meet somebody from anywhere in the world. You know? Anyway. Who did you have drama with, Royal Guard Lucy? Can I just call you Lucy, or... Like, were you guys dating? Oh my god, give me the tea, girl. And also, Shark, what was he saying? What was he saying about me? I wasn't stalking the stream. I was like concentrating on politics. Oh. Holy shit, chain reaction, baby. Oh no. Okay. I wasn't too belligerent last stream. Well, Lucy, hope you're okay. Well, that's kind of hard. So have you tried to appeal your ban? Was he laughing with me or was he laughing at me? And Lucy, how long ago was this? Did this just happen? Oh, you said a few years ago. Maybe you can you and when did you appeal your ban? Like, did you give enough time in between? How'd you know he was in here? I cannot wait until Reputation comes out, the re-record. We're gonna do a live fucking react. I don't care how late it goes. We're gonna listen to the re-records. It's gonna be fucking amazing. I didn't get to do that for my favorite album, 1989. I did a few days later. We are a pro Swiftie community here. Oh shit, 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 shit. Oh my god, oh my god. Do you know any, like, do you have a favorite Taylor Swift song? Aw, you were having a moment, Shark. Aw. Well, I'm trying to get a fucking watermelon. Yeah, this is a double watermelon run. So you can't appeal more than one time when you get banned? I don't understand. I mean, he seemed nice enough. I mean, I just met him like one time. He seemed nice enough. I don't... Like, were you actually stream sniping though? Because that's fucking annoying. Like, nobody likes that. Like, is there a way that you could prove that you weren't doing it? That was fun. Oh, double watermelon's gonna be so fucking hard. It's gonna take me so many tries. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Ooh, ooh. I'm close to getting a singular watermelon. And then I have to start all over and try to get a different watermelon, another watermelon. Oh my god, I really want to get a fucking 2 watermelons. No! I'm fucked. Oh, I thought I was gonna lose. Okay, I gotta focus. Holy shit. Okay, you gotta focus, Mary, focus. oh, shit's happening, shit's happening. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Let's see if those touch. And then I'm gonna do that. No! 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 I just totally zoned up because I got so upset. And it's like midnight here. Alright, I'll play one more game and then I'm out. Then I'm outie. The only reason why I'm playing another game is because I will not be streaming on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. I think I would have rage quitted just now if it weren't for that. I was so close. I was so fucking close to 2 watermelons. Like, can you still see his streams? So he doesn't just troll people, he also plays games from time to time? Like Among Us? I would love to play Among Us, by the way. It's just that I can't because I'm on a Mac, so it's fucking bullshit. They never make shit for Mac. It's so crazy. I hate this orange, it's so bouncy. Why is it so bouncy? It always fucks my shit up. Okay, I'm swearing a lot. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. Like, you see the big streamers that like you see the big streamers and they go on like these like, they have segments where they go on unban sprees. And they have people that they don't unban, like, for years. Because they find that they just don't want to. They have their reasons, you know? So, I mean, every streamer has their own reason. I banned somebody because he was being psychotic. Shark can testify. That dude was over the line. Yo, what the actual fuck? That's funny. Sorry, I just... Oh shit! Fuck! Fuck, 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 fuck. Okay, I need to focus. I need to focus. At this rate, I will never get a double watermelon. Ooh, ooh, no, 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 go back, go back, go back. Fuck. This game is rigged. It's rigged. Not only does it not save my high scores, certain fruits are more bouncy than others. What is that about? Yeah, he was. Wasn't apparently somebody said that he was like leaking personal shit on another stream and they reported him for me on my behalf, which was really nice actually. I don't know what the fuck happened to him. I don't care to know. Like, at first the banter was, like, okay, funny, you know? Like, maybe that's just his personality. But then it just went way too far. Like, he had no sense of where the line was. And then he had a temper. We don't like that. Oh shit, I fucked. I fucked it up. Is that what you're saying about me? Well, that's, you know, that's discouraging. Are you literally saying that about how you found him here today? Wonder why you got banned with that attitude. That's fucking bull. You know what? I'm gonna focus on like the positive shit, you know? It's Thanksgiving. Yeah, what the fuck? I wanted that tea, man. There was no tea. There was personal grievance. Yeah, I'm gonna focus on the positive. Like, people like Shark, who are like reasonable and funny and can have actual conversations without being like rude and psychotic. I'm not saying that that's what you are, but wasn't very nice for you to say those things. Wonder if she left. Because it was like, you should know better, like, as a human. Maybe, I don't know if there's, like, some issue with social cues, but, like, you gotta know what to tell somebody and what not to tell somebody, you know? Like, you don't just go on someone's stream and was like, oh yeah, I just got banned from this other stream because I was stream sniping. And he held a grudge for 2 years, and like I can't prove anything, and like I just found you because like I just found a stream that he was streaming on that was like one of the lowest watched. Like, come on, fuck you. Like, fuck you. You don't say that about somebody. And there's no way I'm like, I've got the least viewers on Twitch. Like, there's no way. I just started streaming too. So just be fucking charitable, okay? Preach, Shark. Fucking preach. If he hasn't unbanned you now, he's probably never going to. And you should just not linger on it, you know? And you may bump into each other again in the future in a different streamer's chat, and you can't avoid him forever. Like, you'll be fine. Like, you don't know him in real life. Watermelon! Watermelon! Sharky got a watermelon! Is there a way I could, like, pause and save this game? No! I have to play it through. No. How am I gonna get 2 watermelons? It's so late already. I don't usually stream at this hour. I'm usually like getting ready for bed, like chilling. Texting people back that I haven't texted back that I should be. Making moves, making Christmas plans, making travel plans, booking places, like shit. no, 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 no. No! Okay, I didn't break my high score, but I got close. And I got a watermelon on stream. Second time. I know, what the fuck? Like, cause like, okay, sometimes that, I don't even know what fruit that is. The pink one, like that one is useful sometimes to move shit around to like help things merge. But when you get it right at the top, it just like moves and like flips out the container. Lucy, don't. You're just... Like, I don't know your background. I don't know how old you are. I don't know. But, like... Thank you, Shark. I don't know. I don't know what... How did you get around like him banning you and still watching his stream? Because that's what happened with that other guy that we banned, Shark. Because I banned him and then he managed to still come to my stream. You know? Alright. That's it for tonight. I stayed a little late because I won't be streaming. I don't stream on Wednesdays anyway. I won't be streaming on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving in the US. I'm gonna be eating, baby. But if I don't get too drunk, I might do a surprise stream on Thursday night. But don't count on it. I'll be back Friday night. I'll be doing something during the day on Friday, so I won't be able to do that. Stream. Oh. You just made me think you banned him. I thought I banned him. That's super weird. Well, thank you for being there, because I thought I banned him, but... I know. Call and spill the tea. I already have a Discord. I started a Discord already, so I don't know. I don't know how that works. There is a Discord, but like I don't know how to like, you know what I mean? What's the appropriate verbiage here? I'm deferring to your expertise. How do you join my Discord? Do you just need my like profile name? You know, Alexa, do you know Lucy in real life or just like over the internet? Shark, help me with the Discord thing before it. Okay, how do I add you though, Shark? Okay, Discord is confusing, but I will learn. Alright. In real life? Aw, that's sweet. Well, if you guys are girls, I mean, I can only assume, because Alexa and Lucy are typically female names, feminine names, but you could be a boy, who cares? But you girls, come on, like... Alexa, help Lucy. I'm sure you already are, but, you know. Okay, where do I check the Twitch DMs? Fuck. I'm such a noob sometimes. Okay, I got it. Alrighty, ready. Alright, have a good night, everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope, Alexa and Lucy, that you guys are okay. Just take it easy, okay, girls? Alright, I'm sending you guys over. I'm trying to send you guys. Hold on a second. Give me a second. All right. Let's see. Wait, what the fuck? Wait. I'm trying to send you guys on a rate. Hey, fool. I'm literally about to sign off. I was gonna send them to you. I was gonna try to raid you, but I can't figure it out, so... I don't know. Alright, I'll figure out raid next time. It's late. I gotta go. Ah, I see. Well, okay. All right. Well, there we go. There we go. All right. Peace out. Kitty cam. Yep, happy Thanksgiving. Alrighty. I tried the raid thing. I don't know if it worked. Probably didn't. I'm gonna figure it out. I'll see you Friday.